Hey, this is Howard Phillips, and you're listening to Video Game Bullshit.
This is Thor Ackerlin, and welcome to Video Game Bullshit.
Welcome to episode 128. That's crazy, by the way, of Video Game Bullshit.
128. My goodness.
128, man. So we are 28 episodes into the next generation of bullshit. Bullshit lives, all of those fun things, man. So what you been up to this week, Tristan? Is it the same old craziness?
I don't know if you heard that long sigh. I'll just spell out this long sigh. Yeah, it's more corrections for my book. I'm done. Actually, I don't know if I was done with PSP and Vita by that last time, but I'm done with the PSP and Vita. Done.
No, you weren't. You finished them, I think, during the week.
Yeah, okay. It's such a blur. It's such a blur. I have no idea. So I got done with those, and those were the last two libraries I needed to add to my books.
What did I tell you after that?
I don't a blur.
I said, welcome to the 95.5. You spend 95% of your time now with the final 5%. You're in the final 5
boy,
now.
You're not wrong, man. Like I swear I'm dreaming about this book now and like corrections. But I have a friend of mine up in Minnesota. He's a doctor for the Mayo Clinic. He's like a cardiologist, does freaking open heart surgery and everything. Dude did a freaking open heart surgery last night, and then after he was done, did corrections on my book and sent me some like notes. Yeah, okay. Hardcore. Jeff Geske, shout out, awesome dude. Just invaluable feedback for my book. As great, well as yours. Thank you for your feedback too.
Yeah, I said send me the rest, man. I will look at it when I get some time.
Yeah, for sure. But we're just going library through library and seeing which images need to be updated, which are out of order, which maybe missing, whatever. He's trying to make me okay. What would you do? I would like to know this. He wants me to put the Harry Potter games not in alphabetical order, but in the order that they were released. Sorcerer's Stone first, and then on and on and on until Deathly Hallows. Would you put them alphabetical, or would you put them in the order of the books?
I have in the past done that, where I've put it, if they fall in line alphabetically next to each other, and it's not like Sorcerer's Stone, a Harry Potter game, because that would be under S.
Yeah.
But if they're all Harry Potter, I have actually done that, where I have taken a game where there's an unknown sequel, and I've put it right next to it. Or if it's I have done that. It's a technique. It really depends, because are you putting the years next to them? No, right? Because your books are putting only visual. I would almost say visually, it would flow a little bit nicer.
And I get that, because there are examples like with Madden 2014. It was actually called Madden 25. That would look weird.
Exactly, and the same thing is if they spelt out the number versus put the number. If they put the number, technically it would be before it alphabetically. If they wrote down TWO versus 2, and so it's a technique. It's a known movie series too. You could do the same thing with the Star Wars games, or anything else. But I would say only if they all fall within the same subset series. So
and
if
they do.
Like
so I'll
Star
probably...
Wars, Pod Racer, or something like that.
Okay.
Those alphabetically, but if it start with episode 4, 5, 6, I would put those in order, even if they fell out of order.
I get what you're saying, and I'll probably end up doing the same, but I'm just gonna let him stew on it and be tortured
let him stew on it
for a while.
But it's a technique.
I'll end up changing it.
Now, if you do that, the scope creep is: do you do that for all the rest of the books? All the rest of the consoles.
Yeah, I'm going to have to. It would,
So,
but it's really only Harry Potter that I didn't do it for. So really, I should do it.
So you already did it in numerical order and not alphabetically on other consoles for similar situations.
In similar situations, yes.
Oh, then yeah, that's the easy one. Then yes, do that.
I know. I'm just doing
I'm
it.
thinking, like with scope creep, man. If you had to do that with all the consoles, I would be like, maybe from a timing perspective, don't.
Yeah.
But that's just me, man.
I don't know. I kind of gave some lazy caveats at the beginning of some of the chapters, saying like, "Hey, I'm gonna put some variants if I feel like it." So
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I've
some
liked
have variants, some don't.
When I'm doing the complete series now, I like doing selected highlights is what I like doing. I started that with the NES Oddities book with doing selective Famicom games that you can enjoy without knowing Japanese fully.
Okay. Yeah.
Like I don't put in all the RPGs, but then I put in like action-based games like your, Galaxians and things that are completely playable. And then with the complete NES, I have homebrew highlights, since this episode we're talking NES homebrew stuff and we're talking the NESDEV Compo. Very appropriate that I did highlights though, and so I covered, so that way I don't have to cover everything, and then my book doesn't become out of date the next day when 7 more games are announced for the NES.
Well, this is why I'm not including any Switch, any PS4, any Xbox One, and on.
Well, if the console isn't done, I would say that's appropriate. And then in the future, you do an addendum book. Number 5 will be the next generation. Or however you want to do it.
Yeah.
Like you just continue it.
I'm for sure going to do that. And I was super tempted to do like even the Evercade. I would love to have that in my book, but that's a growing library.
Once it's done.
Once it's done.
Well, and I like where the Evercade is going with individual releases now too. So that's going to change the scope. So there's multiple collections, multiple colors. I just think it's
the Evercade is a very underrated console. And console library. And I think, and I was talking to the UK rep for, I think it's Blaze, if I'm not mistaken.
Blaze Interactive,
Blaze. I was talking to him, and one of the problems that they have, and this is just from a collector's perspective, and I think you'll agree with me. As a collector, it's sometimes hard to break into a new console as a collector, collecting a new console, because you don't know the scope of the library. If you have the scope of the library and you have that list in front of you, i.e., like if you all of a sudden decide that you're going to be a limited run collector, unless you know what you're getting yourself into, it's a fool's errand.
Well, and if you think about it, you go back to the Wii U to Switch collectors. So everybody was collecting Nintendo collectors. They are all like, oh, get the entire Wii U collection, get all this stuff. They all jumped onto the Switch, assuming that it would be a similar size library.
Yeah.
Jumped into a full bore.
Oh boy, it's not.
Every single game. Limited runs started in year 2-ish. They started doing releases. They're, oh, this is cool. It's very easy, very doable. And as it exponentially grew every year, you saw within the last year or so, a lot of people being like, I'm done. I'm tapped out. Not only too many games, but just from a financial perspective, they can't keep up with every single release. Some are doing every single region.
Dude, unless you've got a sugar mama, Barry, you can't keep up with limited runs every release. So
no. And I mean, if you even think about it, there's people too that used the limited run controversy of them, firing their social media manager for having opinions. They use that as getting out of Switch collecting in general, or getting out of, limited collecting in general.
I know I haven't. I probably talked to you about this offline, but I know I haven't talked to you about this on this podcast.
No.
But when I went to Portland and represented Premium there, there was a gentleman that I came across, an Army guy, an Army major, that was picking up every single release from every single limited company. And then when that happened with Limited Run, firing their social media manager, he was done. That was his excuse to get out. He was done with everybody.
It probably wasn't like he wasn't mad at all the companies. He was just using that as the catalyst to stop collecting all the limited stuff.
But guess who got him to come back to Premium Edition?
The man, Saint Tristan of
This guy,
Abara.
Saint Tristan, sure.
Saint
Now we
Tristan.
had a really good conversation, and I let him know. I mean, he had no idea that you were active duty Army.
Well, yeah.
We've got a lot of military veterans on the staff. So
and there was a whole time for years that I didn't publicize the military piece at all.
and
even on social media. And then
yeah,
when my social media got taken down, when I reestablished it, I'm like, I'm going full blown. I'm just gonna talk about all the things. People know me, they'll like me if I'm Army.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean that's kind of one of the things that we deal with. Like you either keep it to yourself. Yeah, you're drinking from a US Army mug. That's good. You keep it to yourself, or you're one of the guys that wears those like Vietnam veteran hats. You know what I mean? Like there's not a whole lot of in between. You're either advertising yourself that you're military or you're not, and there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with it.
I figure once I'm retired, I'll have an OIF hat and all that stuff. You know, that'd be cool. I mean, I got the and go get OIF with my campaign star in it because I only there during one of the campaigns. But
most people, while we're not sitting there advertising ourselves. Even though it's not a bad thing if you do, because people like supporting veteran-owned businesses.
And yes, Premium and Hagens Alley Books are veteran-owned.
Absolutely.
And so it's just very interesting that like they do use that anything as a catalyst to get out of collecting limited. And so that's the thing though, the scope creep of Switch though turned off a lot of collectors, man.
It sure did. So I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit right now, and maybe you have, and this is just going to be a ballpark.
Yeah.
Do you know what the count is for the Switch right now, currently about in the U.S. library?
A year ago it was close to 2,000.
Yeah, I believe it.
And I wasn't going just U.S. though. Because I was doing unique releases. So because if you go just US, you miss like Final Fantasy 7 and 8, and they're all in English.
I get it.
To me, the Switch is the weirdest amalgamation because with the internet, with region free, with English on cartridge, there's really no reason to collect just US for the Switch, which makes it even worse to collect for.
Yes, but but then you run into those collectors like me who have this like weird aversion to anything that's not ESRB, which is a topic for another day.
I mean, but there's a simple answer that leads to a more verbatim one, and it's because the era that we grew up in with the NES. It wasn't region free. PAL ran at a different hertz, so it just felt felt different. So we didn't like it. And then Famicom was a different cartridge size, so you had to use a converter.
So it's like Peggy.
So it's like it's
get away
thing. Yeah. Whereas in reality, I got no issues with things. And another piece is, and this is where it would be a fun episode to do, is the OCD nature of things. I wanted all to look the same, so that rating looks different than this rating.
Yeah,
it's not the same. It's not the same. But in reality, it's a game, and there's only certain ways to play certain things. I mean, because you got other things like there's a perfect example, and it's from, I want to say it's Strictly Limited, or it could be Super. I can't remember. Slaps and Beans. Slaps and Beans is a very interesting beat 'em up game, but it's based off of a series of it's a partner duo that does a series of movies, Slaps and Beans.
Okay.
And literally this duo of actors have all these types of movies, and they literally beat the crap out of people and eat beans. That's what they do. That's their thing.
And that like perfectly illustrates.
But it's European. 100% European.
Oh yeah.
It's a full game. It's cool as shit. But
that perfectly illustrates your point. Yes. Where if you just stick to ESRB, you're going to miss out on so much content. It's ridiculous.
And there's like a history rabbit hole you could go on, because there's even been some YouTube channels that have covered the whole history of Slaps and like that whole thing.
Really, I'm gonna have to look up Slaps and Beans.
It's cool, like because like those movies are like really like almost like Roger Corman style Slock Jock, fun to watch. Not quite, they're trying to be like James Bond, but
Uh-huh.
they're hilarious and humorous too.
Slaps and beans.
Yeah, it's good stuff. And I don't know if they're intentionally or unintentionally hilarious either. And it's like, but the thing is that was a game that was released in the first couple years of the Switch that I had no clue who they were. I actually didn't buy that limited edition wherever it was because I just didn't know it. And it was a beat 'em up. It looked cool. It makes sense that the game's a beat 'em up knowing the series now. But like
Sure.
that's a perfect example of also that like it's like people in the US wouldn't necessarily get it. So maybe they just
No,
buy
if
it.
I saw Slaps and Beans on the shelf, I would not look twice at
Well,
it.
and with two pictures of people that you don't recognize because we're in the
Yeah.
US and it's not a known franchise here.
Well, it's like that reminds me of JJ and Jeff on
Yes.
TurboGrafx 16. Like that means nothing to me. But wasn't
Yeah.
that like based on a Japanese show or something?
Kato-chan and Ken-chan.
Goodness, you know
And
that?
well, and the reason why I know these things is because I'm going to be doing a Turbo book, but also Turbo's like my favorite thing of all time.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite consoles because it's so odd. It's so interesting to me. But Game Center CX is
buddy.
based off of Yukio. Yukio is a comedy duo of a Reno and another guy. The other guy has done Game Center DX, by the way, with
I didn't know
modern
that.
games. And I think they only had a few episodes, but he did some modern games. But they're a comedy duo. Kato-chan and Ken-chan is a comedy duo. And so you'll see when you watch Game Center CX now you're going to catch it, where he'll make certain parallels of what somebody looks like to a random Japanese figure. Usually those are just comedian teams and things. And that's actually a like the pop idol thing in Japan. Also, there are comedy duos in Japan.
I can only name one comedy duo in Japan. It's Downtown.
Well,
that's it.
You also got Most Extreme Elimination Challenge, which is Takaishi's Castle, which is Makaishi Takashi, which is an episode of Game Center CX. But Master Takaishi, they just did a updated version on Netflix, and it's all has dubbing in it too, which is cool.
Goodness
but
gracious.
It's all Japanese comedians in there. And so they're the ones like all the feudal lords, and they're just talking smack as people are running into a wall or slipping down a freaking thing. It's so fun to watch.
That's okay. We need to talk about Japanese TV and video games in an episode now.
Hell yeah, that'd be awesome. But so like that's a complete necessary rabbit hole though. And the thing is that I think the Turbo me and the interest of it, which happened after deployment when I got back to the States in Miami and got back all my games as a kid, and I started collecting hard, and I went toward the PC Engine as I got my PC Engine Dual R. I think that kind of got my brain to accept other regions as my savior. No, except other regions though as part of a necessary collection. And I still will separate my Turbo and my PC Engine. Let's be real.
Sure, absolutely.
Separate them.
Yeah,
but it's super freaking cool because there's so many fun games, and that's why when I started doing my books later, I was like, all right, these NES oddities. Like all the weird stuff you wouldn't find at a Toys R Us back in the day. That's what the NES Oddities book was. I thought that would be cool as hell. Obviously, should have done it as a double book and had the homebrew as its own thing. But I may do that in the future just as a fun side note. But then I'd be tempted to add more to it. But yeah, man, that's rabbit holes, brother. Like it's like that's why though, going back to your book, why it makes sense to not include those modern systems until they're fully done. And then my thing is do them all, man. Might as well.
Might as well.
I mean, you didn't put the XR Arcadia in there because that one's still not done too.
No,
it's still going. And so if that ever finishes, if they say they are completed, then you add it. And I think that's
then
cool
once the Switch is done, then I'm gonna buy a certain series of books and just plagiarize the hell out of it.
I'll give you the spreadsheet, man.
I know.
I'll give you the
just
spreadsheets.
Joking.
There's a lot of spreadsheets, man. There's a lot of spreadsheets. Good luck.
I bet there are.
Yeah, I use multiple spreadsheets so I could check my work and make sure, because the first thing I do with all these books, these technical heavy books, is I do an initial spreadsheet of every single game, QAQC it, cross check it from different lists. There's a nice Reddit group that does a Switch list right now that I use and I check too. It's not entirely accurate. The r/switch,
Never
it's
is.
in there, but it's damn close. And I'm I give them a shout out whenever I can, because they're
Good
awesome
deal.
for the Switch collectors. But I haven't downloaded the updated one the longest time. But that's what I use for each year. Is I use that as a validation, and then I cross check to make sure. The thing that with the Switch where it becomes a nightmare, Tristan, is our Streets of Rage Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge conundrum now. It is an ongoing conundrum with multiple games. So first game gets released, say Streets of Rage 4, right? Gets released, or Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. There are 3-4 more releases on Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and each one has its own release date, and each one might have different content, and they made it its own release. So
That's crazy.
Categorizing all that crap, because I'm going to do it the best I
because
can.
that's a variant rabbit hole that's just crazy.
And from a gamer perspective, collector's perspective, technically you don't want the most complete version. You want the first print. As a collector, you want the first release. Barry, as you mentioned him earlier, would like the most complete on cart version, and that's what he wants as a collector. But from a valued added collector perspective, the most interesting one is the very first release of a game. For example, Super Mario Brothers, they're all talking about the hang tab version, the matte sticker version of Super Mario Brothers. That's the most expensive because it's the first release. Technically on the Famicom was the first release.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not worth near as much.
And it's not worth near as much.
That's just the familiarity of,
So if we're talking, and then that goes to regions as well. So they want that first print in the region they like. But with the Switch being region free and all these different aspects, and then you got multiple publishers that get multiple different releases, like with Streets of Rage 4 and Ninja Turtles. There's at least 2, maybe 3 publishers that have done separate physical releases of the original version. And now they're all going to do separate original with all the DLC on the cartridge in a separate release. And they're marketing it as variants and stuff. Whereas back in the day, Nintendo, there are, I want to say, over 10 releases of Breath of the Wild. It goes all the way through Hotel. Because you can tell on the back of a Switch case, there is on the UPC, there is a little code, and that code will have an Alpha, Bravo, Charlie on there that states if it's the first, second, third iteration of releases. However, letters can be skipped, which becomes a rabbit hole. And I only know that because I'm on the other dark side as a publisher. But letters can be skipped, because I noticed even with our own, we have the Alpha code release, but then it went to Charlie, and there's no Bravo physical release because there could be iterative updates in there. But my Breath of the Wild that I have from Japan that has the DLC on it, which they never did in the US, is Hotel. So that means there's Alpha through Hotel releases for Breath of the Wild. And they do it quietly. They don't market it as such outside of the one where they put the DLC.
Well, yeah, because it's transparent to. Not transparent. It's seamless to the end user, because whenever you pop it in there, if it's not the latest one, then an update's going to be pushed to your console, right?
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter what version you have at that point. Whereas with the DLC releases after the baseline, that's where it gets a little sketch, I think.
Well, and the interesting piece is that I see a lot of modern collectors wanting, or the complete on cart collectors, they will criticize a limited publishing company for not having it be complete on cart if there's an update later. And I know limited run is marketed as complete on cart. But from a financial perspective, a lot of these companies, premium edition games included, don't have the financial bandwidth to just do multiple iterative updates of games.
No, absolutely not.
And like, if we want to be the first to the punch to release it as it comes out with the digital, you can't have it be complete on cart. So it's a weird conundrum, because I, as a collector, I don't care. I'll put it in there, and if it updates the cartridge, okay. Like, I'm
And
gonna play
I
the damn
get, you know,
game.
so someone in the comments or someone right now is thinking, well, what about, you know, when the servers go down? Well,
Yeah.
whatever, you know, I mean, you know, at that point, yeah, I'm sorry, like 50 years later, then you're just going to miss out on that
Yeah.
content.
You won't. Pirates, man. That's what I'm doing. The
Oh,
hook.
pirates. Yeah. Yeah.
Arr. No, like,
Yeah,
for
that's true.
real though. Like,
Yeah.
if people want that content, like, pirates, not really
Hmm.
pirates, just
Yeah.
really,
The ROM will be out there and
really, it's not
prevalent.
pirates, it's preservationists
Yes.
will have the content out there, will be able to make it work.
Hmm.
The nervous thing, and this is the scope creep piece, is the who's to say, as Kyle would always say on Video Game Bullshit, the who's to say comes to play, which is, who's to say that every single game will get the same level of preservation? So a known game like a Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild will get the preservation, absolutely. But what about a
Maybe not
tiny
slaps
little,
and beans.
or Sea of Stars, where a certain thing
Uh-huh.
was removed from the content? You know what I mean, though? Or a Pigeon Dev Games collection, if that got an
Yeah.
update to remove something, or you know what I mean?
Was that
Um,
foreshadowing, or were you just making an example, like throwing an example out
no,
there?
definitely not. There's no update for Pigeon Dev Games collection.
No, 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 no.
Oh.
I was talking about Sea of Stars.
Oh yeah, I was definitely foreshadowing to a
Okay.
topical news thing we're going to talk about.
Okay, yeah. So you do know about it then? Yeah,
Of
yeah.
course.
I don't know.
I didn't even talk about what I got going on. We're still talking about you, brother.
Yeah, I know. Go ahead, Jeff. What do you got going on, buddy?
Nothing. I'm been bored. Nothing busy at
Yeah,
all.
nothing going on in your life.
So I can't go into details, but yeah, over the last week, actually it was like Monday night, like a couple days ago. They're like, "Hey, by the way, tag, you're it." So I am now the battalion senior enlisted battalion command sergeant major for the entire organization. Um and so no details, but I have about 500 plus soldiers now that are under my purview out here. And as we mentioned last week, I'm moving in the summer to go to the Sergeant's Major Academy, which means I'm working in a couple levels up position before the military has given me the train. They're just like, here you go, you got this. And in reality, I'll figure it out. I'm just here to, do good and
But that means
make
you
sure
get
everybody's
paid for that too, right?
no, absolutely not. No,
Nah.
definitely not. No,
That was a facetious question.
definitely not. We always do work extra. But the thing is, that means I'll be super busy doing extra things. More so these first few weeks, the first month will be as you transition to a new job. You have to learn all the battle rhythm things, what we say in the military, but all the ongoing normal operational things. Plus, I got to hand over my old responsibilities to somebody to cover down as I'm covering down. And this is a cover down thing. This hopefully, won't be a permanent thing the whole time I'm out here.
Yeah.
But if it is, I'll do what I need to do, make it happen. Yeah, it's just it's gonna take a little bit of a during the weekdays. I'm not gonna have time to play any games because I have started to do a because I'll go from meeting to meeting to meeting during the day. I've started to do a all the way till 10 p.m. checking my emails while I'm having a nice vodka or tequila and doing a nice tequila while I'm checking all my military emails. And that's the time, unfortunately, for the hobby side. That's the time where I'm usually getting book updates done and stuff, where I'm like catching up and trying to get the complete Genesis and all of that, which I do have done through the S's now written this weekend.
Hey.
I got a little bit done, but I did actually have something templated to talk about, and it's called the multi-storage puzzle. So this is a new conundrum. It's not new, but it's a conundrum that I have, and I want to see what your take is on it, Tristan.
Okay.
And any of the listeners, if they have anything, hit me up. So in order to come out to Hawaii, we moved from Georgia. So our household goods were put into a non-temporary storage. That's half of our house, because houses here in Hawaii are smaller. So we brought our necessities out here in Hawaii, which means and this is where it becomes so non-temporary storage. Hawaii stuff. All my gaming collection, we got a personal storage to put all of my gaming collection in Georgia. Now, Kyle has all of his collection up in Indiana that I have in a tertiary storage. My goal was to be retired and, within the next couple years, get everything together where our final resting place is. Florida is what the wife's planning. But now I'm not retiring. Conundrum is 2 monthly storage fees, which are like $100 a piece or more a pop every month. And now if I'm not talking a couple years, I'm talking 3-4 years. That's a couple extra years. The multi-storage conundrum. And what do we do now? Because I'm about to go to Texas for training. Obviously, need to keep exactly what I have here in Hawaii. That's what's going to go with me to Texas. The stuff that's in storage, we should leave in the non-temporary storage. But then I still got these 2 collectible storages. And obviously, this is the stuff that I've curated that I want to keep for my final house. So there is the multi-storage puzzle.
The way, the gears are grinding in my head. But the way I see it is you have a few options. I got one comment. You said that you're going to end up in Nebraska.
Yeah, I'm not end up in Nebraska, Tristan. I know.
I just killed the joke. I was going to say you said you're going to end up in Florida. I was going to say you pronounced Nebraska wrong.
Yeah, but I figured you were going there. You got to convince Andrea, not me. I'm down to go wherever. I do know.
Oh no,
my old bones would hurt up there in the cold.
No. Yeah, I wouldn't wish Nebraska cold on anybody. So I'm not trying to sell it. I was just kidding. Anyway, so short of you going out to one of those storage units and taking a U-Haul or whatever and driving it to the next facility and combining everything,
which my one in Georgia is full, which means I would need to upgrade to the larger size and then move 2 storage units essentially into one. And the upgraded size, the cost becomes the same as just leaving them put.
Seriously? Okay. Yeah. Well, at that point.
And I'm like, I did that cost analysis before we did it because I'm like, when we consolidated all of Kyle's collectibles, I was like, we could just put it in a U-Haul and drive her to Georgia. And then Andrea did the math and she was like, for us to get the bigger storage unit, it was like double the price. And because our current one in Georgia is full, it's packed to the gill. Like it's not all the way to the ceiling. It's like I didn't want to put too many to crush any totes, but it's packed all the way with games and stuff. And so it's like, man, I would have to get the next size up, which is almost double the price. And the one that's in Indiana it's not packed. It's about half full, but we went super tall. And so I
don't have an easy answer for you on that. I've never been in that position where
that's a weird one,
I'm split. And of course you're going to keep up on it. I just don't want to see your collection or Kyle's end up on Storage Wars.
No, and it's auto payment. It's
of course
every time. Like we're good.
I know.
Yeah, but it's like it's very interesting. Because like the non-temporary storage is like I got to see with Household Goods, like, hey, can you all go and send people?
Yeah, exactly. Like
into the non-temporary storage. Because my thing is, we did our own personal storage because there's high value stuff in there, like kiosks and arcades, and I don't want military movers touching that stuff because they just as fast as possible toss it on their truck and then they offload it when you're not around into the storage facility. And so that when you're not around, who's to say what they do? Who's to say comes to play, man? So it's like, that's my conundrum right now, man. I think we're just going to be stuck paying it.
I'll say right now, if I had space in my storage, I would offer to host it, but I just don't.
Mm-mm. No,
Especially with
man,
my
it's a lot. It's not.
thousand books about to occupy some space in there.
Oh yeah, no, and the collection's big, dude. There's no way.
Yeah,
Like unless somebody just happens to have a giant warehouse.
Mm-hmm.
But no, that's the conundrum right now.
Mm-hmm.
Is how do we do it? What do we do it? And I think some of it will play out because in the Army, I'm going to go to training in Texas. Where they send me next after that, if they send me back to Georgia, done.
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We get it all together. We get it all together. So I feel like that's going to be the thing is that after Texas, as long as they don't like have us come back to Hawaii or go to Europe or something, like I feel like I just consolidate it all and then I'll just take a trip out, visit family in Indiana. That'll be great. Get a U-Haul, drive it to where we live.
Yeah, exactly.
And then put it all in there and then
Mm-hmm.
come up with the next solution. It's a lot of stuff though, man. Yeah, I was hoping to build the Retromuseum and do some, legit charity like donations to
Sure.
for the sales of the games and stuff.
Yep, postponed.
Yeah, that is the conundrum, man.
Postponement.
Dang, it's crazy. That is the crazy one. So the only thing I have in the news is a follow-up to last week's before we get into the main topic, talking the NES homebrew, NESDEV compo. And then project stuff. So I say let's do the project stuff and then we'll do the news. And so essentially with the projects, the Metroidvania Chronicles right now is I think about 6 days left. So it'll be done before the next video game bullshit episode before we record. It's over the first stretch goal, which I know we had talked about. I don't know if we talked about it on the episode, but first stretch goal is all of the stretch goals besides for the mystery one. So I didn't recalculate when I did the Metroidvania Chronicles. I left it at the other one, which the books were more expensive, which means it would cost because they're larger, it costs more to make them. So that's why the stretch goals were tiered as such. This is a smaller form factor book combined with a smaller page count. So it's going to be significantly more affordable to add all of the bonuses. So all the bonuses have been unlocked. But the bonus one, if we hit it, and that'll be the 20K, which right now I think we're almost at 12. But if it'll be the 20K one, I'm gonna add something awesome to it, like a slipcase with foil or something awesome. That's free for everyone. I'm just gonna add it, and I'll unveil it when we get within the 72-hour mark. I'll unveil what the idea is because we're already doing a limited edition slipcase. So I'm gonna do something cool. I'm gonna do something extravagant. I don't know. Gild it all in leather or something. No, it's like I'll do something cool though. I'm gonna figure it out. I'm gonna do some awesome upgrades to something, just as a thank you to everyone. But
very cool.
But yeah, so that's the Metroidvania Chronicles. I'm still working on the Genesis book and the Switch book. Still in research mode, so I'm working on those. The Jeffrey Winnigan's Black Box Challenge, the Twisted Realities book, has been ordered. And so I did the final proof approval for the grayscale of that, which is really cool. And then we are working at Hagens LA Books with Rob Strangman on the very baseline of doing a really cool pocket versions of his books. And he has 4 now instead of just the 2 that have been released, which is Memoirs of a Virtual Caveman is the one that I have that I love. And it's like Eating Candy in Outer Space is another one, and like they're really cool. His writing style is so fun. It's like so personal that you can like follow along with his stories. So it's a really cool one. And Rob has had a rough go at it over the last couple years, just with stuff going on, and being able to get his books out there and publish them. So he'll have a ton to sell for a while too. It's gonna be cool. It's gonna be really cool.
Yeah, I hope he's going to be able to go out and sell his books in person, do some book signings too. That he's been writing for a long time. Like what's that? I can't remember. They did a Konami Shooters and
so he did a horror one. that he was
Yeah.
because Rob is the Splatterhouse guy. So he
Yes.
ran West
guy.
Mansion, the website, and he had input into the Splatterhouse remake. And so he has stories upon stories. And so he actually contributed to a lot of Kurt Kalada's horror book that he did, his little horror, like little digest.
Well, what are the other ones called? It's like Hardcore Gaming 101 or something like that.
Yeah, that's what Kurt
is that what I'm
Kalada
thinking
calls
of?
the series. Yeah, he calls
Okay,
that
yeah.
series Hardcore.
Yeah.
Hardcore Gaming 101 is his like website, and he does put that branding on some of his books.
Yeah.
I've been trying to get Kurt to move away from freaking Amazon printing for the longest time. He's just like, he just goes to Amazon formatting. And I'm like, dude, we could do some cool stuff with his, because his layout work is, he does awesome stuff and awesome writing. And I'm like, dude, we could do so much more with your books, create a legacy. And he's like, oh, I'm good with Amazon. Okay.
All right. To each their own.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just here to help, have fun. But yeah, so that's about the projects that I currently have going on. And I know we already talked about yours. And then
I've just got one little thing to add, I guess, since I already talked about my book. Like I'm downsizing my collection a little bit more. Like I'm going through things that are kind of redundant in my collection.
Interesting.
For example, I've got a Pioneer Laser Active hooked up on CRT out there, so I don't need my JVC XI, right? I can already play Sega CD and Sega Genesis games on my Laser Active.
Need versus want.
Exactly. So I've been downsizing a lot of things that can be enjoyed more by other collectors. And I recently got rid of a copy of Pokemon Blue, that box JVC XI that I was talking about, a copy of Breach and Clear, which with a Vita collector that's actually helping me with proofread my book. He doesn't have Breach and Clear yet. And then a huge ticket item that I don't think I'll ever see again in my entire life. And I don't know if anyone has seen one of these things. It's an entire Vistion Game Boy Advance kit. It's an like original kit, like a new old stock kit to put it in a minivan. That's like awesome. Everything you need, harnesses and everything. It's just crazy.
Yeah, you won't randomly come across that.
No, absolutely not.
One thing I would say to take into consideration as you downsize, especially when you're talking old school consoles like your Laser Actives and XIs, keep in mind capacitor leak and make sure that whatever you stay with in your collection, you know how to repair or have somebody who can repair it. Because, for example, I got all the caps replaced on my Turbo Duo, and I got all the caps replaced on my Express and my Nomad and all of those things, because a lot of that stuff was not made to withstand 30 years of play.
Correct. Especially that NEC stuff. It's pretty bad capacitors in there.
And if you let it leak, it'll leak on the board, and then you got more of a problem to fix.
But yeah, no, my Laser Active has been done. The Sega pack that's inside the Laser Active has been done. And those are a nightmare, apparently, to recap.
Yes, that's why I was saying that, because the XI is much easier to work on than the Laser Active.
Oh, sure. Yeah, but it's already been done, so I'm good there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good news.
And my Duo's already done, and on and on. I just had my Play Choice 10 recapped.
Yeah. We do have one more thing for Project News, because we didn't talk anything premium. So with premium edition games, we've been doing some second chance sales on the website. We're about to jump into the Gamers for Gamers edition of Mighty Fight Federation finally. And if you don't know, for the listeners, because I don't think we've talked about the Gamers for Gamers editions of premium edition game stuff. And this is a charity thing, is that Gamers for Gamers has a charity called Gamers for Kids. And a percentage of all those sales goes to the Gamers for Kids charity. That charity is ran by us. We set up game rooms in homeless shelters, and we have pictures and stuff, as Josh and Sheena, who run Gamers for Gamers, they have done those. We've used the money to set up one of them, and now we have enough money to do another one. We've been trying to figure out the area, the location. Josh was trying to have me find places in Hawaii, but I'm like, that's not real reasonable because everything out here to import it would be too expensive. Because we're trying to do it, maximize how we use those funds in order to do real benefit for the kids in that homeless community, the homeless center. To build game rooms, and we'll put in consoles and things, and Josh and Sheena, they buy stuff in bulk, so they're able to save on pricing to get like a Nintendo Wii or whatever and put a bunch of games in there and make it really cool for the less than fortunate kids. We don't claim to be donating to places like the other, the charity that's in the news. Like, we don't claim to be continually, like, what we do is we consolidate all the funds and then we do a game room, and as soon as we have enough money, we plan it and we do a game room. I am going to try to fly out when we do the next one, which I might do while I'm in PCS mode for the Army, so I'm already in Texas and I can just like pop over, so it doesn't cost a shit ton of money. But yeah, we're looking to get one of those new game rooms done. So the Mighty Fight Federation, we didn't add any extra bonus costs to anything. I think they're limited, and I think they're $50 instead of $40. And because he is, wake up, Tristan.
Sorry about that.
Wake up from your nap.
My gosh.
But it's Josh also custom prints on it, and there's new art on there and all the other stuff too. So there's brand new art. The art's done by a local artist on the East Coast. Dude's super cool. I met him at a convention last year. Guy is really rad. And so this one was the last one of Series 3. I don't know how we hadn't done the Gamers for Gamers edition for it, but that is going on the website soon. And other stuff in premium news. Let's see. So Bobby67 has finished assembly. So those should be shipping out to backers, which is the NES game, where it's like an NES run and jump, shooting and fun little story-based action game. Really awesome game. Silver editions look badass, have all new art
amazing. Yes.
Yeah, and so those are limited in scope too. When we have a second chance sale, we'll put up the quantity that we have left, which isn't a ton for the NES game, so we don't overprint a lot. We just print enough to cover like damages and stuff. So if somebody's game is like mauled by the USPS or something, we can replace it. And then the Raji collector's editions, which have a freaking art book in it, that we've been waiting on this damn art book for months. And a awesome sleeve that everything goes in, a slipcase that everything goes in.
Gorgeous.
It is awesome, and it turned out amazing, because what we think is when we create mock-ups online, they look cool. Now we see it in practicality. It looks so rich, so vibrant. The artwork turned out awesome. I haven't been able to check out the book yet, but I know that the art book it's been curated by the developers. It looks awesome. So that's the premium stuff, and then we got the VGBS Advantage, where I am currently working on something that we haven't announced on the website or anywhere else that we could talk about here, Tristan. So the classic series that we have talked about a couple years ago, we have finally found a developer and is working on stuff. We already have a proof of concept of games working. So the classic series will be starting. We're not going to call it the Classic Collection Volume 1 or any of that stuff like we had marketed. And some of the games will change because over the last couple years, some games, I think it's Era of the Crow Maiden, Ore Body, which Premium has published. Some of those games have gotten releases with digital already, with other digital publishers and stuff. So we're going to put the games in the collection that are able to be put on there. But this is where things get crazy. We're probably going to call this something like the 8-bit indie something. 8-bit indie heroes, 8-bit indie collection, whatever. Maybe it's 8-bit indie collection. But we're going to call it that because with this programmer, they can do anything. So we could do Sega Genesis in the future. We could do anything from an indie collection perspective. We could take budget or dollar games or something like that, or smaller experiences from the Steam library and do a collection of those. We could do Steam indie library in order to get those on a collection. Like there's a multitude of things that we could do to help preserve indie games.
Yeah, we can do a lot more than we can't do with his tool. It is quite a robust piece of software that he's developed.
And I think once we actually have everything locked down, we're going to bring on the developer here and do an interview.
Oh man.
I think that'll be cool.
He'll blow everyone's mind.
I don't want to ping him now so he starts getting random messages out of the blue from listeners, but like we'll have him on so we could talk about it. Yeah, so the NES collection will be a thing. There will be, I'm calling it indie because it's homebrew, but it's indie. But I want to call it 8-bit because that way we're not going to have Nintendo, say, well, you can't use Nintendo Entertainment System or NES, like you got to use. So we'll call it 8-bit.
Yeah,
indie heroes or 8-bit indie collection or whatever we want to call it, because I think the heroes is what they called it on the Evercade, which I thought was pretty cool. But we'll see how it all goes down once we have all the details. There'll be a trailer announcement, a big old thing. I don't know if it'll be part of a future Premium Direct or if we just have a buzz trailer that we do on Premium's YouTube. Tristan's been the video editor for a lot of these awesome trailers you've been seeing. The freaking one that popped up for, I think it was a Finatonia PS4 version. That was freaking awesome, dude.
That wasn't me, actually. I won't take credit for that one.
Who was that one?
That was Phil.
Dude, I loved that one. That one was cool. That was simple, man. Yours, you've been doing narration, which has been awesome.
I think I'm overachieving there. So the next one that you'll see will be the Mighty Final Fight Gamers for Gamers.
I just like how you keep calling it Mighty Final Fight. It's Mighty Fight Federation.
Oh geez, I'm sorry. MFF is just, it's messing me up.
I've been letting you do it. I've been letting you do it the whole
I'm doing that all day too.
Mighty Final Fight. Mighty Final Fight
Federation. The Mighty Fight Federation trailer is going to be going to social media tomorrow. If you see it, it's something I made. So
it'll be cool. And that's the thing, though, is that the indie one's going to be awesome because, and that goes hand in hand with this episode, being able to support, independent game developing, NES homebrew developers, NES independent developers, aftermarket developers. There's so many little buzzword key terms. It's been awesome. It's just been fun getting them out there. And we're also figuring it out, and we've figured out, but we've going to take care of these developers too, so that way they get some compensation for their work.
Yes,
which is nice. So it's gonna be super cool, man. And Premium's gonna have a big 2024. We did a team member meeting last week, and we got a lot of games coming, man. We gotta get some stuff produced out there because Tristan and I we're the design and production side. We gotta get a lot of stuff produced, which requires capital, which is always fun. And so we're going to get that done. And then they're doing awesome on the marketing and the sales side. It's bad. It's badass. And when I say bad, I mean like the Power Glove. It's so bad.
It's so bad.
No, it's cool. So shall we talk about the update to the Completionist charity that's in the news?
Yeah, you kind of alluded to that. So let's just dive right in.
So we talked about it last week where we said, like, I have run in the same circles as some of the other people that do all the things. Don't know the guy personally, but here was my situation. And I did a bunch of, well, who's to say that this didn't happen? Who's to say that this didn't happen? Like maybe he wasn't involved with stuff and his dad was running it all. And all of those points still stick because they have not put forth any type of details on the completionist side. However, Carl Jupst has done his video and has given more evidence that he had conveniently not given on his other videos, including more portions of the audio. And at 3 a.m. or earlier this morning, more audio has been leaked. And essentially,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and essentially, Gerard's unfortunately on there when he talked to them on the call and says, basically he's worried, like, what do I need to do to you guys? Alluding to that he was going to, like, do you need something to make this go away? Type of deal.
That's not good.
Yeah, it was all alluding to it. He didn't say any of it, but he was alluding to it. And so
but
the thing is, he absolutely sat on money and promoted that he was donating things continually through his
Mhm.
charity streams. And this is where everybody has every right to be angry that they're, especially those that have donated, that their charitable donations that they were being told were being to go to these organizations to
Yes.
support. We're being held until they all go together to be sent in lump sum. But he only submitted it because he was called out. Like he only submitted it so fast that he called out. And then just to complicate things, Tristan, before you give some notes, there's been some tweets that people now are highlighting from March where he says that he earns $600,000 to $750,000 a year for charities. And so he just did one contribution of $600,000 that he's been able to prove. But if he's been doing that a year, there's a lot more questions now. So this is just the crazy bee's nest that is going to unfortunately go on. And the guy has been caught in a lot of lies, unfortunately, trustworthiness. And when you're donating money to people that you don't have confidence that they're being, having integrity, that's a key factor. And that's something where us both being military, like we have core values that were instilled in us. And that doesn't mean that everybody is a damn saint in the military, but it does mean that you're supposed to adhere to core values. And that's why like veteran businesses, like, at least that they're supposed to adhere to core values. And we both see this kind of stuff when we're just like cringe our nose at it. It's not cool. What's up? What's your thoughts on this? I've been rambling.
Yeah, I mean, black and white. It doesn't really matter, because I watched the Completionists response video, and then before I watched Carl Jobst's response to that video, just so I had the context, the proper context.
Yeah, they were talking straw man defenses and all the
videos.
And I'm not very versed in all that stuff, but
I won't pretend to understand it either.
I feel like it's more like he was in his response video poking at other things. I mean, he threatened lawsuits.
Sure, yeah, exactly.
But also, like, it was something I didn't catch until I saw the response videos. But it's like, I'm sorry if you felt like this. Instead of saying, I apologize.
A non-apology.
Yeah, I didn't even catch that stuff because again, we want to give as a human race, we want to give people the benefit of the doubt. We want to.
But when you're caught red-handed as Gerard was, it's black and white. You misrepresented something that you were representing. I don't care what the charity was for. I don't care about your family ties. That sucks. And I'm sure it means a lot to you, but at the end of the day, your integrity has been compromised.
Integrity has been compromised. Exactly. And the fact that it's with charitable donations, which means doing something for others, and that it wasn't being done, and it was always supposed to be for research, which means for the last 10 years, no research was done with that money, which is even crazier. It wasn't like, hey, we're like premium. We're setting up a game room for homeless shelters, which means we got to get enough money to get the items for the game room. Now we have that money. Now we're going to go set up the game room. It's more like I'm donating this money for research.
Which opens up a what if,
Yeah, like imagine over the last 10 years how many people passed away from this.
Yes, and it could have directly helped. Could have, whatever. Playing devil's advocate here.
Who's to say comes to play?
Yes, but you're representing yourself, misrepresenting yourself. Come to find out, and not only that, you're dragging all these other people who have been associated with this charity and your charity streams and these donations into it as well.
Yeah.
You're not only representing yourself, you're representing them too. You are the spokesperson. So if you're not, I mean, dude, Jamie Lee Curtis was on their streams, on their charity events.
Exactly. Donating money.
Yes. I can't imagine how she must feel. Maybe, I don't know. Well, I'm not even going to speculate, but
so there's an interesting thing is that I don't know if you realize that back with Hagens Alley Books, I was associated with a charity that we had donated to, that we had talked about, we had committed to donate to. So it was with the second printing of Jeffrey Whitney Hagen's Black Box Challenge. Talking with the developer and I had like a mutual falling out over the years. And when I had asked him if I could do a second printing, because we had lots of people that wanted me to do a full big box release, he said, cool, don't care, do what you want. I want my portions donated to charity. And so we did the percentage portion that would go to the developer, allocated that. And I said, well, which charity do we want to do? And I was talking to Infinite NES Lives, who was doing the original. He did the original board manufacturing for the game. I didn't go with Infinite NES Lives for the second printing, but I was using him. So he was talking to me. He's like, we're going to go with this one book charity. So, in the end, I produced the game, made all the stuff, did all the sales. And then later on, went to the book charity and made the donation. Not only that, and I didn't promote this, I didn't do anything. I matched it 1-to-1, everything for the developer with everything that I earned. So that game, all the profits technically went to that charity. Yeah. And I submitted it and I provided them the receipts, which is all that Gerard had to do, is provide the receipts of what he had donated. And that's because we had this mutual falling out. I want to be like, hey, no, dude, you told me this. I'm a man of my word. I did this. I also did my own. And then there was a whole email response from the charity being super appreciative of us submitting, because I didn't communicate with them ahead of time and promote that we were doing this with this one charity, like the Completeness is doing. He's talking about it on streams, promoting it, saying, I'm going to this, and this. Whereas we just said we were going to donate it to a charity. And you can't on Kickstarter promote that either, mind you, Tristan, if you didn't know that. So we can't say, I'm doing this book and a portion goes to charity. They'll actually take down your campaign, because Kickstarters are not meant for that. They're meant for starting a project and supporting the person. Gotcha. So the fact that that was a private conversation that we had, that he wanted his portions to charity. So then when people were going after me online, because there was a lot of people online that thought I was doing weird, like selfish things with the homebrew community, I'm like, I'm just making cool stuff and supporting the developers, because they weren't used to an independent game publisher. But when that came out, I was like, oh no, his portions are going to charity. I'm planning on doing something too. And that's all I kept saying. And then once I did all of the things, if anything ever comes out, I'm like, hey, I got the receipts right here. Here's the receipt of what I donated. Here's how much, you can see how much it earned on Kickstarter. Here's how much that it costs me. And I have receipts for how much it cost me to make the game. And here's how much I donated. As you can see, I actually donated more. I think I ended up donating more than what I actually earned and everything. But with other book projects, with premium edition games going on, it's cool, man. Like, I would rather donate extra money to charity to help out. When I tell somebody I'm donating to charity, I'm donating to charity. And so there's something in perspective on a much, much, much smaller level, because it wasn't like $500,000. It was like a few $1,000s. Yeah. Like, I can't even remember the amount right now, and I could look it up if I need to. But like, it was thousands of dollars that I put in there, not hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah, and Gerard,
so all he had to do.
Yeah, he sat on, eventually it accumulated or grew to over $600,000. And, we'll give him eventual credit that he donated the funds. But the problem is here that he knows he messed up, and he's not taking full responsibility for it. He doesn't think that, he thinks it's just going to end there. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe he does realize, the trouble that he's probably in now. He's had a falling out with, say the indie community now. And I'll let Jeff cover this. He was removed from a certain game. What was that game?
So, that was noted. It was covered in Indie Land. And that was a Sea of Stars. He was actually an NPC in there. It's like, his name was Gerard the something else ist.
Yeah.
And now they've replaced him apparently with a red-headed dude with the beard called Bob. Which,
yeah, just Bob.
yeah, which I think is like an allusion to Bob the Builder, because I think it has something to do
Yeah.
with maybe it's the
Yep.
construction.
It was the constructionist. It
So
was
Bob the Builder.
Gerard the constructionist.
Yeah. Yeah, so the just looking back, I just did my email traffic. So I made the donations in 2021. But in 2020 of April 2020 is when they had requested to do firstbook.org for the charity that we were donating to. It's a good choice because it benefits kids, and that's what they wanted to do. And then they could share on social media, they said, once I did the donation. So in August of 21 is after getting the game, doing all the stuff, because it took a long effing time. I just wanted to reach out. But I did my charitable donations. Now, first book donation. Let me see if I got anything listed. My receipt from first book. And I pushed that over to them, the donation receipts. And so essentially, I had done my donation, of a couple $1,000s, and I have it right here, the receipt, the official receipt from them for income tax purposes that I did. They're out of Washington, D.C., and it has a number on it, a federal tax ID for them and everything. And I did a one-time donation of a couple $1,000. And I pushed that forward. So that's just it. And the thing is that second printing, I did like 100 copies.
Fun fact behind that second printing, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for that second printing.
Why
doing
is that?
this podcast with you. Because, Jeff, that was the first time I ever reached out to you, is to get a copy of that Black Box Challenge.
Oh,
that was how we started talking.
That's awesome. See, and that's the thing. And everything from that game went to like all the because I don't have high profit margins. That was the thing, is like some of the community would be like, oh, well, why are you charging this much? And then they're trying to do like what they pay or whatever. And I'm like, dude, I'm doing like high quality prints, and I'm not, I'll assemble it myself, but like I'm not doing all this extra like I'm not doing these cost saving measures. Like they have all their own molds and stuff, and I don't do that. Like I'm making a hobby release. Yep. So like my profit margins are smaller. Like a couple $1,000 was all the profits. And I just boom and submitted it, and you know what I mean? And I did that, and it's freaking crazy. But yeah, like so all he had to do was show it. Now, here's the other piece. If, for example, because he said in that tweet or whatever that was from March, he just says, I'm helping the community all the time. It says he does $600,000 to $750,000 all the time. Now, if he is doing all of that in whatever capacity period, he just has
where are
to
the
show
receipts, buddy?
To show the receipts. If he shows the receipts, that's going to shut some people up. He still is, shouldn't have sat on all the donations from the Indieland stuff for $600,000. But my assumption is that 600 to 750 a year probably includes the golf scramble, that there's all that questions and everything else that he does. That would be my assumption. But again, we don't know. And at this point, he may just, go and keep quiet. I don't know. But either way, not cool.
If I were him, I wouldn't make a response to the latest Carl Jobst video, because it's just not going to help things.
Exactly. But not cool. Not cool at all, man.
Nope.
But yeah. But let's talk about some happy stuff. Happy to go lucky. What is the episode title right now?
We are going. Oh yeah, geez, I've been slacking on our tracker here. Yeah.
What's going on?
NESDEV COMPO.
Yeah, we're moving to the NESDEV COMPO 2023. So a little bit of history is the website NESDEV used to be the repository. I think it still is, but it's not as updated. Was the repository for NES homebrew preservation, and they would put all of the stuff that everybody's working on the website. And then eventually, a few years back, they started a competition on the website where everybody would get together share. They have like a certain timeline, kind of like the Ludumdare game jams that happen. Kind of like a game jam. They have a certain amount of time, and then they submit their games. And then the first few years, they actually took all those games and put them on an NES cartridge, which was pretty cool.
Very cool.
And they did that for the first, and they called it, I think it was Action 53.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah. The first one, I think Streamers was like the highlight title, which was like a really awesome reinvigoration of the Action 52 game Streamers, but it felt more like Bionic Commando, which was really awesome. It's like a combination of Bionic Commando and the Streamers game. But that was like one of the first ones. And then they continue every year to do them. They're now hosted on itch.io. And I think there's like this Canadian website that's on the big banners now that is supporting and working on it. And there's, a big community following. From what I'm tracking, and I'm going to go off of what I know and haven't researched, but what I know is that the NESDEV Compo is individually programmed games, individual programmers and people, not using necessarily NES Maker. I'm not saying that they're not using program tools, because some of the games that we had reviewed in the Compo 2023 had used Puzzle Game Maker or some other game makers repositories. But as far as I'm tracking, none of these games were made with the NES Maker tool, because NES Maker does its own competition, its own game jam that they do every year. And number 4 is coming in the spring. And if everybody likes what we're doing here with this coverage, we could do that for the next one too. It was pretty fun.
Yeah. Oh, this is so fun. Yeah,
this is super cool as hell. And so how we're going to do this is there are 24 games that were submitted to the NESDEV Compo this year of brand new games. What we're going to do is we're going to go over what the games are, what the general idea of the genre that we feel it falls into, because these are all, individually published games. Neither of us are game developers, and we are not going to judge these games from a merit of a fully, a game that's made in a giant, company that's made with a giant company. However, we are going to talk about what we liked and what we did not like, and we are going to talk verbatim with our own opinions. I did my review a different way than Tristan did, which is actually going to work out perfectly. And we're going to go over every game. I played mine in the order that the NESDEV Compo had it in the results, whereas Tristan played them alphabetically.
Yes.
I did a general summary, did an overall grade, and this is what we're going to do, our overall grade. And then, does it meet the criteria to be a full-fledged game on the NES? Or does it have the potential with some finishing?
Yeah, because some of these are just demos or proof of concept or whatever.
They worked on it on a weekend, which is completely reasonable. But like, would this be something that we could see on the NES? And I try to do like, if it feels like a certain era too. And I know you said you did some other criteria when you played each game.
No, so I graded it by each of the categories.
Yeah, so you graded it by each of the categories. Yeah, didn't say this.
Yes.
So what categories did you grade each one by?
So we've got art and style.
Yep.
Your overall impression, polish and completeness, originality, sound, and gameplay.
And
is that what you're tracking?
And so those are all the categories. And now I did this as my overall favorite in those categories, whereas Tristan, you did grades for each game.
Each game got a grade in each category.
That's awesome.
Out of 10.
We will see. I didn't do that because I do grades like letter grades. So
yeah,
we do a bullshit letter for each one. So
I should have done that. I should have known, but whatever.
Hey, you're just gonna have to take it. If it's an 8, that's a B.
Yeah.
That's a B, man.
That's right.
And then we're gonna have all those at the end. We're gonna talk about what our favorites were, and then the overall favorite game that we played on the compo. So I would say we're going to go with your list, Tristan, and how you went in order. And I'm going to skip around in my list so that way we talk about it in a different way.
Okay. The first one that I had, and I can't remember what I must have abbreviated it because fish obviously doesn't come at the beginning of the alphabet, but that was first on the list.
Okay. So, Okay, so it's called NES Fish, essentially. This game, and I actually have this all in my notes. This game was programmed by Voxel. That's who submitted it.
Mhm.
I have it listed as a platformer. And
Yeah.
so my general aspect is you're a fish that can move and jump. And I didn't do any research on these. I downloaded them all and I just played them with my reactions.
Yep.
You're a fish that can move and jump. The graphics, it's like a black and white aesthetic. Reminded me a lot of the game Downfall on the Nintendo Switch. If you ever played Downfall, it's just black with white and you go down. This time you're moving up. And you can move and jump. When you leave the water, you have this like 7 bubble bar that depletes. And you'll die if it goes completely down. I never had it go down more than like 1 or 2 as I'm moving. Once you touch water, though, it fully replenishes all 7 bars again. Then as you progress up the corridors, there's hazards. Like if you move up onto a level, on the level, like it'll shoot a missile over at you, which is pretty cool. And you just got to like play a little game of chicken because it only shoots once. And then there's like fires that'll like toast you. If you touch anything, you lose, and you must start over from the beginning.
From the beginning.
So what do you got, Tristan, with this one?
In addition to giving it a letter grade, for my overall impression, I elaborated slightly.
I'm going to do overall at the end, by the way. So
okay. But this was like a 1, 2, or a 3 letter, or 3 word like impression. So this one I found very neat. Yes, it is a really neat game. Neat. I had a lot of fun with this. It is it's easy to play, difficult to master, which is a great balance to strike in a game, especially an indie game like this. It reminded me of playing Love 3.
Okay.
Because it's a precision platformer, right?
Yeah.
And it's super satisfying to go fast in this game.
You say Love 3, but as you play, there's no music at all.
No, there's no music.
Love 3 is heavily inspired on music.
Sound I gave this a 0, no, a 1, because there's slight sound effects when you jump and when you like lose the bubbles or whatever.
Yeah.
So there is sound, but there's no music.
Yeah.
So I gave sound a 1. Art style, it's very simplistic. I gave it a 2. Overall impression, I gave it right down the middle of 5. Polish and completeness, it needs a lot more polish, so I gave it a 2.
So when you do a 1 to 10 ratio and we're doing percentages,
yeah,
so you're giving it an F.
I know, yeah, but that's not. So I would have done it completely different.
Remember, video game bullshit does grades, brother. We don't do.
I know, I messed up.
So we are not doing. We do a grade, man.
So I'm gonna have to do this on the fly then.
I gave this game a C.
Yeah,
I gave it a C. A solid C game. Mine was the black and white feel works well, but there's no music, so it made it feel like unfinished. Because I mean, it's a demo.
Yeah.
This feels more like a Flash game, actually, the way that you play it. So I remember playing a bunch of Flash games on DOS back in the day, and you just like jump up, die, start over, jump up, die, start over. It's very limited for what it is. So it would not be something that would be on a cartridge. However, with some refinement, like say they made levels, you can go up to the top, get maybe some checkpoints so you don't have to start all the way over, some music, and if it has levels and all of that, it would be an awesome release. Imagine some side scrolling in there too if it didn't just go up. Like these mechanics, it's cool. I like it. It's freaking awesome. I like the gameplay aesthetic as well. That's why it's a solid C for what it is based on, and I'm relating it as a video game. So it's a C though. Like, and I'm saying like I would call a NES release a C as well, like a full game. Like I'm not giving it because this is a demo. No, this is what we played.
Yeah, exactly. And I totally agree with you. This is a solid C game with a lot of potential.
Yeah.
With a lot more polish. And like you said, if it had checkpoints and music and it was a full-fledged game, then yeah, it's going to creep into the B territory for me.
Yeah.
But as is, it's a C title.
As is, it's a C title. And then I'll tell you, so from the NESDEV Compo, it actually ranked number 5 of 24.
Okay. Yeah. I'm
Ranked
not surprised by
5 of
that.
24.
Not
So
surprised.
I feel like, and the whole community, the programming community is who are all the graders in this, the like that did all the grading. So I feel like they're looking at it from a technical aspect. And from a technical aspect, it works real well. It plays real well. It's not floaty jumping.
It
You don't
feels
get to
great.
fight.
No, it feels
Oh, yeah.
great.
Yeah. And that's where we got to give the devil its due, where, as we're playing, as we're evaluating, but solid C title for what it is.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't get to the top. I didn't beat it.
Awesome job.
Yeah. Freaking cool. All right. What do we got next, Tristan?
Beat 'em high.
Beat 'em high. And I got to look through my schedule. All right. We're going. Beat 'em high. Where the heck is Beat 'em high at? Oh, damn. Beat 'em high was higher up in the list. Interesting. I don't see it. I'm looking for it. Did I not write about it? Oh, there it is. There it is. I found it. Okay.
Yay. That's when you looked at.
So, this one was developed. Beat 'em I was developed by Langle. I put the genre as question mark. When I played it, there's 2 characters that scroll. I couldn't control it, so I assume maybe it's a Lycan game. I don't know.
I was so confused.
It looks cool. It looks
yeah,
cool
it looks great.
But
it looks really cool.
How long did you let it scroll for?
I mean, it scrolled for a little bit, and then there was some dialogue after you run into somebody. Yeah, and then he's like, "I'm gonna screw this place up," and then it just like goes to scatters.
It went like insane.
And then it never recovered. And like
what's going on?
I guess it's a tech demo. It's not a game.
I don't know if it's just a tech demo or something, but I couldn't get it to
work. Dude. That was my experience too. Oh yeah, and we should mention this. Jeff and I have not discussed these games since we played them. This is the first time we're comparing notes.
Yeah, we didn't. I played a few like during the week. I was able to play a couple, and then, like it was crazy.
My overall impression I gave. I said WTF.
So I gave it a D, and the only reason why it got a D and not an F is because it actually looked cool. The graphics looked awesome. The scrolling looked cool. It worked well. Mechanically, it worked what it needed to do. But it's not a game. It's just a little video.
I'm going to copy your grade. I totally agree. It's a D. It's not an F because it tied for the basis. Yes, it tied for the highest score I gave art and style.
Okay.
Yeah. So art and style, I killed it. It looks great.
What did you give it for art and style? Number 1?
A 7. A 7 out of 10.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Mm-hmm. I mean, I would say that the art and style for it it's good. It's like
it looks good, but everything else is like head scratching.
So where they put it, I just couldn't get it to work as my analysis. It got number 20.
Out of 24.
20 out of 24. So there are 4 that got worse scores from the community. Whereas I gave it a D, which is like some of my
I was impressed by the sprite work.
Yes, the sprite work was cool, and mechanically it did some stuff. I assumed that doing that chaos thing with the boss required some programming to do.
Yeah.
All right, what's
next up is Cat Mercs.
Cat Mercs. All right. Cat Mercs, the Big Bug Invasion. This was programmed by Team Disposable, and it is a vertical shoot 'em up. So you're controlling one of 2 cat mercs. There's a male and a female. You're constantly walking up. I wrote there are 4 power-ups. There's a normal, a 3-way, a laser, and a machine gun. To me, anything but the machine gun was way too slow to be effective.
Thank you.
Like it was like because the laser's like
painfully slow.
The laser is super powerful, but it's
like one shot every like 4 seconds.
The enemies are like bullet sponges. They take 3 to 4 hits. So doing something where you can just rapid fire, like it's so much easier than having to shoot twice with that laser that takes a super long recharge.
Mm-hmm.
And then the normal one was just slow enough. And these characters, they move so damn slow. They're just moving like trudging up, which is a cool way to show the scrolling for the vertical from a programmer perspective. But lots of these enemies are shooting bullets. And as you're moving, the bullets will home in on you on your plane for the eight axis way. So then as you're getting these multiple giant guys, they're all shooting at you and you're having to dodge, but you move just slow enough that it's just not like we need a quick react button in there or something. But yeah, so how did it rate for your categories, Tristan?
My overall impression I have that it's a Wish.com Gunsmoke.
Wish.com Gunsmoke. That's hilarious.
It feels like Gunsmoke, doesn't it?
Yeah,
I love Gunsmoke too.
Yeah.
It's a very functional game. It's playable. But yeah, the balance isn't there. It's not balanced correctly. The enemies flood the screen where you can't keep up with them because your weapon, depending on what you have, unless you have the machine gun, you just can't keep up. So what letter grade did you give it?
I rated it a solid C.
Okay.
And my analysis was it's a basic shooter that doesn't offer much when it comes to a full release. I didn't get to a boss, but if it does offer levels and bosses, I would rate it better. So if we get up to the top and it has bosses and there's multiple levels, I think with a few tweaks mechanically, like a little bit faster scrolling maybe, or the character movement can be faster, which would be nice, or a dodge move, along with rebalancing the power-ups to make them all useful. Solid, it would be a solid release. I'd bump it up a couple letter grades, just mechanically sound. So that's where I have it. What about you?
C minus.
C minus.
And for the same reasons, it has a lot of potential, but there's a lot of things that it's an unbalanced game. And like you said, the power-ups, whenever you get them, I was like, oh, sweet, a laser. Oh, no, I wish I hadn't picked it up because I got wrecked after that. Even if it, had like piercing or something like that, that would have been a more functional weapon.
And both characters mechanically are the same. I played this. Characters.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep, they both do exactly the same.
Just a reskin.
Yeah, just a reskin, which is cool.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I didn't note this, but a lot of these games have 2-player modes, which is awesome too. I did notice a lot of these games had 2-player modes. That does add a lot, and that's challenging to do. It's not challenging to do because it's just changing a couple bits in the code, but it is awesome that you do have 2 players.
That's actually an interesting point for this game. I wonder if the difficulty stays the same if you're playing 2 players, because maybe it's a lot easier to play with 2 players on screen at the same time.
I would assume with a lot of these demos that they didn't difficulty.
You're right. I'm giving it a little bit too much credit there.
Well, no, it'd just be a lot of programming. It'd be challenging to do.
Yeah.
And then the community, it has it as number 8 of 24. So it's in the top third of games.
I probably would have put it higher, honestly, personally.
Interesting. Yeah.
Next up was Color Match Combat.
Color Match Combat. Let me go and look for it. All right. Color Match Combat was programmed by Johnny Bot. I listed it as a falling block puzzle game.
Yeah.
I called it a PvP falling block game where you match colors that get destroyed when you have multiple together, combined with a little like circle tile that causes them all to explode. There's also like this like purple diamond one that came across. I didn't know what the hell it did, but it took out like a massive amount of section when that one blew up. The drops then block on your AI opponent, or when your AI opponent does it, it blocks on your side. There are also multiple options, and the soundtrack was pretty stellar.
You said this was made by Johnny Bot?
Johnny Bot.
Johnny Bot. Okay, so Johnny Bot has clearly played a lot of Super Puzzle Fighter because it's exactly the same.
Yes.
Exactly the same mechanics.
Yep.
So it's
cool. We have a Super Puzzle Fighter on the NES.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's cool with all the numbers popping up and all the
Yeah.
shenanigans. I'm terrible at these games, by the way. Like, I'm not a fan of these games.
I mean,
But
Super Puzzle Fighter is a lot more palatable on PlayStation and Sega Saturn because of the chibi.
But I'm not going to change my score based on whether I like the genre or not. I'm going to do by the game itself. So.
Sure.
Yeah. So what do you have? What were your notes? Anything else, or are you just that?
That's it. Yeah. My overall impression. I said it's Super Puzzle Fighter.
Any highlights of strong or weak scores in any categories? That's what we'll go off of yours.
Originality, I gave it a super low score because it's a clone. It's a clone of an existing game. No different. He clearly has played that game.
I think
I'm like, oh man, like down to that, like, yeah, the weird diamond tile that comes down. There's something like that in Super Puzzle Fighter that if you match it up with a color, all of that color explodes, and that's exactly what happened in this game too. So yeah.
And so my interesting thing is this game has and where I wrote is I gave it a B-, by the way. Because originality doesn't have that much of an effect on mine. This has a lot of potential and definitely could have went on the NES if it had a 2-player mode. There's no 2-player mode in this demo. But it does have the AI, which is significant to program. The AI was solid. It kicked my butt. So and then but I said I'm not a personal fan of this type of game. Like it just gives me anxiety and stress to play. But yeah, that's what I gave it a B- because I feel like with a little bit of I could see this on the NES because I mean it's Super Puzzle Fighter, of course.
It's a great game. It's actually a really fun, like addictive game.
Yeah.
The only demerits I gave it were in art style. It's very simple.
Yeah.
And originality, just because I see what you did there.
See what you did there. I like it, but I see what you did there.
But yeah, I agree. It's a B-.
Yeah, nice. Where are we going to next?
Now we've got Desert Escape.
Desert Escape. Let me see. I think that's an earlier one. It is. Oh, by the way, I didn't say the number. Number 11 of 24 was Color Match Combat. 11 of 24. Desert Escape. All right, Desert Escape was developed by Wowie Games. And I called it an action puzzler. You control a character with platforming where the goal is to get to the top of the screen. Blocks are falling continually in random patterns, so they all just like come down at you as you're running and jumping. And the mechanics, the jumping mechanics are spot on. It's pixel perfect. It works real well. You also have the opportunity to drop 10 single blocks, which allow you to jump up if like it drops like a giant pillar in front of you. You can pop up blocks. And there's a way, just doing the Super Mario 3 style, because it has the same type of jumping mechanics where you can drop a block and then like curve around it to jump up. Which you can use for secrets. If you get squished, you die. If you touch the cactus that pop up, because cactus will fall instead of block sometimes, you die. Once you get to the top of the screen, it clears and you continue it again in another screen. And it changes a little bit of the backgrounds. That's what I got.
All right. I said it's difficult and it's clever.
Yes.
It's unlike any puzzle game I've ever played. It reminds me of like playing the opposite of Tetris Plus. But I felt like it was unbalanced because I don't think that the limitation on the single blocks that you can only drop 10 blocks. I didn't feel like that limitation was necessary. Like they should have limited you on that. It made it a little bit too difficult and unbalanced, in my opinion. And maybe I just suck at the game.
So they should have they should have unlimited.
Correct. Yeah, I think.
Did you ever get to the top of the screen?
I did once.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I think
it took me a while.
And that's the first level, guy. I mean, my gosh.
And then if you have used all 10 of your blocks and you get to the top of the screen, it gives you 5. Is what I noticed. It gives you 5 on the next screen.
No. Unbalanced.
Yeah. It just seems like there was a lot of big big pillars, and then you'd be like working up your way, and then it'd drop a big vertical on you, and then you had to start all over, and you just die.
Yeah.
Like,
It's nothing you
there
can
was a
do.
lot, and I mean it. I assume that there was some kind of RNG management to drop the different blocks on you, and I mean with a little balancing. I gave this a C, by the way, solid C game. I think with a little balancing, it could have transform itself into a solid puzzler. It's a fun single screen game, but wouldn't play it more than a few minutes as a mini game. That's what I said. Because like if they had, done a little bit of a difficulty balancing where you don't die all the time, it would be a fun, addictive game getting up to the screens and getting through it, and then eventually you die. Like there's no reason to make it more hard and more difficult. You know what I mean?
No, yeah.
What do you got on it?
On both originality and gameplay, I gave it a 7.
Yeah.
Like high marks. But for everything else, just it commits some sins. Just because it's and obviously we're grading it on how it is. We're not taking into account that this was like done in a couple days.
Well, some of these may or may not have. I don't know which ones were done in a weekend and which ones were they've been working on the whole year for the competition.
Oh, I see. Oh, okay. I didn't know that part. Well, that being said, and then I don't feel bad giving it a C minus.
C minus.
Yeah, because there are some things that need to be fixed. I think it's unfair in some ways.
Yeah,
and the fairness can be. Yeah, it's unbalanced. It's just unbalanced. Double Dream is next.
Unbalanced. And by the way, Desert Escape was rated number 4 of 25, so it's actually above.
Come on.
It was above NES.
Oh, I highly disagree with that.
Well, I am sure that the programmers gave it higher marks because of the RNG management on it.
Yeah,
that's not easy to do. But yeah, I mean, and the gameplay was solid, the music was cool, but like, all right, yeah, I don't know about that. What was this one? Double Dream, Kristen?
Sorry about that. I muted my mic on accident.
Yeah,
Double Dream.
Double Dream prototype. This was programmed by NESDEV, and I call it a platformer. First thing I wrote was parallax scrolling on the intro screen. It was like the ticker, like on the intro screen. There's parallax scrolling, which I thought was cool. Nice visual. But you play as a character that does a spinning kick as well as a jumping spin that bounces. So there's like a little bit of momentum-based gameplay in this one. It has a unique mechanic that will take some time getting used to, as there is the momentum that you build, and you can carry items like a key or a boulder to jump off of. I never did find a damn door for the key. I don't know where the hell the door was.
I found it, but
I was able to like toss
I've got some notes.
And I was able to toss the key and do some other stuff. The goal is to collect stars, and you can go up and down in the levels as well. So if you do some like jump offs and you see the top of the screen, you actually go up to another screen up there, which was pretty cool. And let's see here. Kind of reminds me of a combination of a Boy and His Blob combined with Gimmick, like with the weird mechanics, with the bounciness, because it's very, very bouncy. But it doesn't play like either of those. That's how I felt. What are your thoughts here, Tristan?
You mentioned Gimmick. My overall impression is it's like Gimmick, and you need patience.
A lot of patience, man. So what are your notes on this key thing? I want to hear.
On what now?
You said that you had notes on the key.
The key. Yeah, I was looking all over the place on where to use that thing, and it's so cumbersome to like make it travel through those kicks are weird. And
because like you'll grab the key and then you gotta like toss it in the air, and if you kick it, it'll go up, but you have to
like fling it.
You gotta
fling everything everywhere, and you gotta fling yourself in the air, and the physics are weird.
The physics are weird. It's fun though. I'll tell you that. It's fun as hell, but it's weird.
Yeah, the weird physics totally reminded me of Gimmick.
So where was this damn door? I want to know.
Oh no, I didn't find the door. I looked all over the place for it.
I never found the damn door either.
No.
And because the thing is, the whole game is like a maze. There's multiple doors to go in, multiple sections. There's like little puzzles that you got to figure out. So I gave this a B plus. I give this a B plus. I said this game shows the most promise for a full-fledged title out of anything that I had played, because I did start to get frustrated by the damn mechanics. Though as I continued to play with the momentum, I did continue to play it because of the momentum-placed gameplay. I thought it was really well done. Once I learned it, I should be able to get much better at the game. And also, if I didn't have to play 24 games, I could have gave it a little more time, and I might have been able to get a deeper appreciation for things. It does need a little bit of balancing on things, but I think more so, I wouldn't change the momentum. Like, screw it.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. That's what they made.
Yeah, it's unique for
but
sure.
some kind of way to lead the player, or at least say what the hell the goals are, like, for things, a way to use the stuff that's there. Because it reminded me, with the way that those items are, it's like the Dizzy games on the NES, where you get a bunch of damn items, you don't know what the hell to do with any of them, and it's fun. Like,
yeah.
And so if that's what they were going for, you got it. But I would say, programming something, if you want to get the goals, like, there has to be some kind of, like, you got to know what to do with it. That would make it a solid, that would bump it up. But I give it a B plus because I did enjoy it.
We'll be a couple a couple away from each other on this one. B minus for me.
Okay.
And I'm probably being a little bit overly harsh, because it's not easy to pick up and play. It's just not. And I'm giving it a harsher grade than it probably deserves, because I did not get used to that weird kick yourself up in the air mechanic. It's bizarre, man. It's unlike anything that I've ever tried. And if my mic cuts out or something like that, just let me know. Like, it's acting funky. I had to, like, unplug it.
Funky like a monkey.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, so yeah, we're a couple off, but that's okay. Like, we each had our own experiences. That's how this goes, man.
But it tied for the highest in art and style.
Really?
On my scale, yeah. With a 7.
Yeah. Yeah, this is one of my game that showed the most promise, because I feel like it could have had a couple tweaks and it would have been stellar. And I did like the uniqueness of the kicks and stuff. I mean, all it had to do is give a little bit of a tutorial at the beginning to lead the player to how to do all the little stuff, and it would have been excellent. Like, with, like a little beginning area that kind of unlocks, like Nintendo style, where it gives you some stuff, like, where, like, now you got to use the kick up, now you got to use the wall jump now, and then you master things as you go, and then you get unlocked into the world. That would have been perfect. This one was ranked number 9 of 24. Okay. So this is under
That's surprising. I thought it would have been higher.
I would have had it higher too. Yeah, very interesting.
Echoes of the Unread is next.
Echoes of the Unread. All right. Echoes of the Unread was developed by Clever Cat Games, and I put platform/Metroidvania ? You play as a character that is looking for pages of a book. You replenish health at a water fountain, which is cool. There's a lot of text. There's dialogue and stuff, which I thought was pretty cool. Very
humor too.
Done. A lot of humor. Some enemies you jump on and they can give you a boost to your jump. And so, like, you jump on enemies to kill them, but not all enemies. It doesn't really say which one you kill or not. Main area is like a hub world though. And then when you finally get your first page, you jump into a book. Now you're in the Wild West. And it reminded me of, like, the Daydreaming Davy game.
Perfect.
There are lots of pages out of reach, which lends itself to the Metroidvania subtitles. There's no, like, map or anything, so it doesn't hit every that aesthetic. But yeah, like, a lot of stuff being out of reach where I can't get it, which I assume I will get a power up later, maybe, to get those things that are out of reach. That led itself to the Metroidvania for me. What are your thoughts?
My overall impression is I am very, very impressed.
Yep. Yep. Did it get the highest for graphics and?
Not for graphics, no. Art and style, it was middle of the road for me. But everything else was high marks.
So I gave this game an A minus. Gave this game an A minus. And I wrote, there seems to be a ton of depth to this game, and I had just stopped playing eventually. Whereas there's a lot more I could have done. This would have been a full-fledged NES experience. This is like a mid-release, maybe a late-release NES game. It like Maniac Mansion feel with the humor and everything. Like, oh yeah, this is a good one. And then when I went to the next world, I'm like, holy cow, this has full game written all over it. Cleverest cat.
This is an A to me. I really, really like this game.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I can be swayed to an A. Yeah, I thought it was awesome. Yeah, so this one, A for sure.
Next up is Firewall.
And Echoes of the Unread, by the way, was lower than Double Dream Prototype. It was number 10.
Shut the bleep up.
Number 10. Number 10. It was underneath.
Recount.
It was
Recount.
underneath NES Fish and Desert Escape. Desert Escape's
No
number 4.
effing
number
way.
10. Yeah,
no.
I gotta give you this before we.
That is a crime.
Yes. So that's just where they put it, man.
What did they like? Did they was the developer out like in the parking lot slashing people's tires before they voted on this or something?
Don't know.
That's crazy. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you said the next game is Firewall. This one was developed by Nevyin, Jave, and Mescal. There was 3 names on it. I just put it as a fighting game. It supports 2 players, or an AI. You can do 2 players or an AI. You basically fight each other and push each other with the goal to push them into a firewall. That's it.
Yeah. It reminded me of like playing an Atari game, like maybe Atari Sumo.
Yeah, look,
you're playing sumo.
It has an Atari feel to it, or sumo.
It's very. I just put shallow. It's a shallow game.
I wrote very simple game with decent music. Needs more variety in the levels to be a full-fledged game. I gave it a C minus. Because I was like C minus because of like graphically it looks cool. The mechanics work well. I died a couple times and got him a couple times, so it was like
sound was all right.
Sound was music was decent.
Yeah, it's getting a D plus for me.
D plus.
Yeah.
Okay.
I wasn't impressed. Plus, it was the very next game I played after Echoes of the Unread. So oops.
This was further along. I actually, so how I did mine was, as I said, I played it in numerical order.
Yeah,
once I got to like 10 or 12 or something, I jumped down to 24, and then I worked my way up.
Okay.
So that way I didn't skew myself and like everything's getting worse every time. No.
Yeah, weird.
No. When I got to Echoes of the Unread, I was like, okay, now I start jumping around because I'm like, eventually it's going to start getting to more demo based games. All right, what's next?
Did you already say the ranking for Firewall?
It was number 15.
15.
So it is mid range.
Okay. Next up was Golf Cart Traffic Jam.
Golf Cart Traffic Jam. It was developed by A Novel Approach and is a puzzle game. You play as a gator, collecting items and moving golf carts to make paths, and you can go into the water. It's an overhead game. It is only 3 levels, and then the 4th level isn't finished. It's just like blank when you go to the 4th level. There's like nothing in it. That's it.
Well, you can tell I didn't get to that level because I just put ugh no.
I wrote not a full game, and what there is very basic with rough graphics. Like it's just like they didn't do the good contrast of the background. I give it a D minus.
Ugly game.
Minus.
I gave it an F.
You gave it an F. I gave it a D minus.
It failed.
And this was number 24 of number 24 with the community.
Yeah, it got my lowest grade too, so we're right there.
It did not get my lowest grade.
Oh, really? Okay.
No, it did not get my lowest grade.
Well, okay. We'll see. I'll wait till we see your lowest grade. No, maybe I'll guess why.
We shall see.
So next up was Little Sisyphus.
Little Sisyphus. All right. This one was by Puppy Games or Puby Games, as we'll say Puppy Games. And it's a puzzle platformer. You control a character with a ball on a chain, and it has momentum that is used for platforming. So like this ball like weighs you down, and you got to kind of like whip it to get up on top of platforms and stuff. It is very rough to get used to, the ball momentum though. And it purposely limits you on your jumping. The thing is though, the game was designed with this intact. So they actually had some clever ways to progress on platforms. And the ball is used to crush skulls, and the goal is to crush 80 skulls total in order to beat the game. There is a homebrew developer that does a lot of games where there's like they have the goal of their game to collect like 80 or a number of things, and then the game ends. So that is very reminiscent of that other developer. But it's not Puppy Games that does that. Checkpoints are there, and they reduced my frustration, as you can teleport when the mistake is made. So you can literally like pause and warp back. So say you're at a spot at a checkpoint, and then you go to these spots where you have to jump, and you keep falling. You don't have to like go all the way back up. You just go back to the checkpoint to restart there. You can actually like pause and respawn yourself at no penalty, which I was using a lot because of these damn ball physics. It was pissing me off a lot. What do you write?
What emulator do you use? What program?
FCEUX.
Okay, I use RetroArch. Arch, whatever.
I just know FCEUX does the Mapper 30 stuff perfectly, so that's why I use that.
So and I tried 2 different emulation cores. Both were glitched out on this game. Would not play it correctly. As I was moving, it was just juddering, like it was awful. So I can't give this one a score. I defer to you.
So I gave it a B+, and it's a fun little single level game. Because the thing is, once you get to the 80 eventually, I mean it goes for a long time. It'll be great to see this expanded with like multiple levels. Maybe a bosses and stuff too. But like if it adds that, it is a solid full game. It just, with this only having the 80 skulls, it does feel like a single element game. And this was rated number 1 of 24.
Yeah, I did notice that.
I did like some other games better, like Echoes of the Dead personally, but Little Sisyphus did get 1. And it is the most impressive from a with all the different aesthetics and the way that the levels are programmed.
Yeah,
very well.
Yep. Yeah, and the physics of the ball sound like it sounds like it would remind me of maybe like Solar Jetman or something.
Yeah. So you said you played on RetroArch. What did you play it on?
What core? I would have to launch.
No, like did you play it on the PC? Did you play it
on PC? Yeah, on PC.
Yeah. So I just played them all in FCEUX, and I used the Switch controller plugged into my laptop, and I played them all.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I try to keep it simple this time because, like, if I got fancy and then there was glitches because it's not made for a specific thing, like, I just know all the homebrew guys use FCEUX.
Yeah, it's weird. Like, I've never had an issue with the RetroArch until that one, and
try playing the ROM for Black Box Challenge. You ain't gonna get it to work in RetroArch, brother. It ain't gonna work. You have to use FCEUX. And even that one, the damn intro won't work. Intro like shows garbage because it only works on cartridge.
Gotcha.
Yeah, FCEUX, you gotta learn the hard way, man. You missed a really fun game with that one.
Oh well.
All good. That was number 1 of 24, according to the community.
Next up is Miro Jr.
Miro Jr. So Miro Jr. is developed by Wendell Scardua, Rafternaut, who did the music, and MT, that did the graphics. Is a falling block puzzle game. You are a unicorn that moves around a single screen that is laid out like a Pac-Man level. The goal is to collect snacks But there are marshmallows that are falling down like freaking Tetris pieces. Then you have to press select to swap between moving the unicorn and the blocks. If the unicorn gets crushed, you fail. You have stamina that depletes for the unicorn. That slows it down, but eating snacks does replenish it. So as you continue to do that, the marshmallows also block your pathways in the Pac-Man level to block your exits to get to the snacks. You also, as a unicorn, can roll into a block, but then, and it will remove it, but it does consume a full bar. So you got to use it sparingly. Clearing a line gives you lots of points. So if you clear a line with all the marshmallows across as you put them into Tetris pieces, you have to use two sides of your brain at the same time with this game. So you say, Tristan.
Yeah. Well, hey, that's a good segue into my overall impression of so confusing. Using both parts of my brain at the same time. It was. And yeah, it took me.
I played this. I wrote all that because I got so detailed into what to do because I had to figure this shit out because I was like dying. I was like, what the hell do I do?
Well, yeah, it took me the longest time to figure out like how to
tapping the A button to try to move the damn unicorn. I'm like, how do I get through these blocks? Because it looks like you can get through and eat through the marshmallow blocks. And I was trying to do that. And no. And there's like on-screen instructions, like they are confusing as hell too. Like it just says, do this, this. And I'm like, what?
Yeah, so confusing.
It's literally switching between the two unicorns to move the blocks and then move the unicorn and collect all the. I was able to beat the second one because like the first one's like get 12 snacks, the second one's get 24. I was able to get to 24 snacks and clear it, and all 4 levels. Once you clear them all, there's a hidden secret 4th level when you're playing through it.
I give this a C.
I give it a C plus.
Okay.
I give it a C plus. I said it's a full game and even has in-game instructions. The issue is that it's not super addictive due to the constant swapping of the characters. So doing that constant swapping is unintuitive to me. And there is a 2-player mode. And so cooperatively, this would probably be fun as hell. If like I was moving the character and you were moving the blocks, this would be a freaking amazing game.
You know what it like reminded?
It'd probably be a B.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it's like trying to play Gyromite by yourself or something.
Yes, exactly. That's a good one.
Well, what it reminded me of, pressing select to go between the two things, both of them, it reminded me of playing Street Fighter on the Genesis with a 3-button controller.
Oh, yeah.
You remember that?
Mortal Kombat 2 on the Genesis where you got to swap.
Yeah, where you have to
block punches and the kicks.
Yeah, yep.
Yes.
You got to hit start to swap.
I am not a fan of those mechanics. I see what they did here. It's great. It got number 3 of 24 in the community. The other pieces, Rafternaut is Jordan, who does a lot with the NES maker community. He does a lot of games. He did Space Raft. As well.
I figured.
And then MT has done a lot of the beautiful, pretty, colorful graphics because the graphics in this game are awesome.
Yeah, it's really good.
It's probably the best graphics, maybe, of all of them. But we'll see what I rated it at the top. I actually forgot what I did for all my top ratings. But yeah, MT is known in the community as well, which could also, like, having known community members, I feel like in their ratings does give people more leeway if they're a known contributor.
Yeah.
So the fact that MT and Rafternaut are in there probably helps a lot. Either way, though, has promise. I give it a C plus.
Yeah. Mosh Lift.
Mosh Lift. All right. Mosh Lift is done by Morph Cat Games and is a platformer endless runner. Do you know Morph Cat Games?
Yeah, that sounds really familiar, but I don't.
I'll give everyone a history lesson. Morph Cat Games. Original old school homebrew developer did Super Bat Puncher, the demo.
Okay.
They also did this Coco game where it was like this overscreen, crazy looking one with MT graphics. But also did Micro Mages. Which also has the NES release. It's on a lot of modern consoles, and Micro Mages I think is also on the Evercade, and it has a Play Choice 10 release.
Oh wow, that's cool.
So it is one of the first. I think it might be the first NES homebrew to get a full Play Choice 10 board release. Morphcat Games though did Mosh Lift, and so you are a heavy metal headbanger with metal inspired music playing. The level's continually moving up, and you bounce and jump up. You use the B button also to throw your guitar, which does this kind of springy thing that will shoot you upward, and gives you. You then get an extra momentum that bounces and will allow you to move up faster. And I think it gives you like a couple extra jumps, is what it looks like. I wasn't able to quite tack it down as I was playing, but it was fun. The way the character moves with the animation, it looks so freaking cool because he's like doing these flips and
Super
these
smooth.
things, and
Yeah.
it like almost like flows with the music. Like this is like a really cool freaking game.
Yeah, my first impression of this was that it took some getting used to, but once I got used to it, it was super fun.
Yeah.
There's not a lot to the game, as you know, it's just an endless climber. It's not like it's level based or even checkpoint based or whatever. You just keep climbing and climbing and climbing as high as you can. Yeah, high score. Yep.
Arcadey game.
Yeah, but yeah, really well done. I was really impressed by the animation and just the smoothness of how you moved, especially whenever you did that move where you threw the guitar and it like latches onto a girder and throws you upward. It's pretty cool, pretty dang cool.
Yeah. And I feel like it's forgiving too. Like I didn't find myself because I like first run through, I played for a while. It was cool. It was cool. Would you give it? I gave it a B minus.
Yeah.
I said the game is impressive for homebrew, but it does lack the depth that would make it a full NES release.
Yeah. Same exact grade, same exact notes.
Yeah.
It's not deep enough.
Yeah, and this was number 6 of 24. So it was above Cat Mercs in the ratings, but it was below NES Fish, which I feel like this might be a little higher than NES Fish.
Yeah.
But that's okay.
Next up, My DVD Logo Daycare.
God. All right. My DVD Logo Daycare. Developed by Rye Mouth. I put it's a shooter. You're at the top, shooting downward. DVD and Blu-ray logos bounce around. You drop food down that changes the colors of the DVD logo like a screensaver. You also shoot and destroy the Blu-ray logo that takes it away. That's it.
I said weird and confusing.
Yeah, I didn't understand the mechanics.
No, I appreciate what they were trying to do there. It's clever. I mean, they're incorporating something that everyone has stared at, and seen and is familiar with, but execution not quite there.
Yeah,
definitely a D title to me.
Yeah, I wrote D. I wrote a D title. All my note was not a really fun concept.
No.
And that was number 22 of 24 within the community.
Based on just the name before I played it, I was so hopeful it was going to be a good game.
Honestly, like knowing what they have done in the previous NESDEV combos, I thought it was just going to be a DVD logo screensaver. Because they have done text sides before where it wasn't a game.
Yeah.
So the fact that it was a game, I was actually surprised.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Funny. Pentablucat.
Pentablucat. All right. Pentablucat was developed by Pineberry Fox. It is a falling block puzzle game. So essentially Tetris style game, but with combinations of 5 blocks. And then the single cat paws also pop down that add the ability to fix mistakes that you make. So when it adds things. That's what I wrote.
Meh.
You wrote meh.
Meh.
I give it a C. I give it a C plus. I said it's not a bad take on falling block games for what it is. It offers 3 songs and multiplayer, just like Tetris style. So if I'm comparing it to like NES Tetris or Tengen Tetris, it does do at least that. But I'm not a fan of overcomplicating Tetris.
Same. I gave it very low marks on originality. Like adding a block to the tetrominoes. Good job.
Yeah.
I gave it a C. It's a functional game. Obviously, it's like if you want to have fun with it, you'll have fun with it.
Exactly.
And adding the cat paw to fix mistakes. Yeah, you're gonna have a lot more mistakes with 5 block pieces. So smart.
Yeah. It was rated number 18 of 24 by the
18
community.
Okay. Next up is Proximity Shift.
Proximity Shift.
I remember playing this one.
All right. This was developed by Fiskbit with sound by Trirosmos. This is a puzzle action game. You're a ship that can phase back and forth. The goal is to make it through the tight corridors, and the level continually scrolls. Very basic, and it quickly requires pixel perfect controls as it's moving up. The song in the game was really cool.
Mm-hmm. I put ow my head. It hurt my brain to play this one. I didn't get that far, but as far as originality goes, I gave it really high marks.
Did you get past the first section or second section or anything? Did you get into next?
Yeah, I mean I probably was like a minute in.
I got a couple sections.
Yeah.
It's
where you had to start. Yeah, ow, my head. That's all I have to say about that. It takes some brain power.
And I wrote it was too basic of an idea for me for a full-fledged release. It's more so like a larger feature of like what would be in a shoot 'em up. Like if a shoot 'em up had shifting and you could shoot at enemies and stuff.
Yeah, like Super Starship Deluxe. That we played. Where you phase
Project
through stuff.
Starship X.
Project Starship. Yeah, I got it wrong, but you know what I was talking about. Dang it.
Ultra Mario Twins.
Yeah, I'm just
no, but
Gianna Brothers.
And I gave it a C minus. Because to me it just felt like it was a feature. Now, it was rated number 2 of 24 in the community. Number 2. I feel like that everybody was probably impressed about the scrolling. Maybe I don't know. The music was great.
Like I said, originality. I've never played anything like it unless it was on other consoles.
Now, unless we're both just noobs and we just got to get further and it opens up with more stuff later. It
was hurting my brain, and I was happy to move on to another game.
Yeah,
but I
imagine me playing that game and then Miro Jr. right after. Because Miro Jr. is number 3 with the Pac-Man games, and then Desert Escape. I'm like playing all these damn puzzle games back to back to back. I'm like, gosh, man, like my brain just kept hurting.
Next up was Pie the Piper.
Pie the Piper. All right. That game was developed, Pie the Piper, developed by Retro Nika. I put it as an arcade game.
It totally feels like one.
Yeah, it's an overhead game where you control a baker throwing pies upward. I think B was cherry and A was apple. And each pie knocks out a gray or white mouse. That's actually one pie cuts to one color, which you had to figure out. You go down to the bottom to replenish the pies you throw, either on the left or the right, which regenerate over time. There are also mice that go on the sides of the level, and if they get to the trap door and get through, they deplete all your pies. But you can go over to it when you replenish the pies and pop their butts off and knock them off. And it's just a high score game. Like that's what it does is like you keep playing until the mice eat all your pies, and then they all flush down and completely kill you.
I said 8-bit Ikaruga.
8-bit Ikaruga.
Based on the color matching, one color only being damaged by a certain color. You know what I mean?
Interesting.
I mean, obviously, it's not a bullet hell shooter, but yeah.
I kind of feel like it more felt like a root beer or tapper or a
Yeah.
tapper
Oh,
game.
sure. As
Because
far
you're
as the arcade.
tapper sideways, you're throwing
Yeah.
things upward. I wrote down this game. This is a game that feels like a black box title. Like it would have fit in the Nintendo Black Box series. It even has the catchy music, man.
Yeah, the sound, amazing.
And if it offered a bit more variety with the levels, it might be, and it might be if I was better at it. So if I beat the level, maybe there's another level. I don't know. I didn't beat the first section. It would have been more like a full release. Like Donkey Kong had 4 screens. Popeye had multiple screens. So if it had like some screens that iterative go, it'd feel like a solid arcadey black box era title.
Sure.
I give it a C.
I gave it a C plus.
C+?
I thought it was pretty good. I agree. It could have been better with like more variety.
Yeah.
But I dude, the sound and the art style were great to me, and originality.
Yeah. That was rated number 7 of 24. So that was above Catmerks. Above Catmerks, and below Mosh Lift. So in between those two.
Gotcha. Next up is Rodent Eating Serpent.
Rodent Eating Serpent. Let me find it. It was programmed by Niku4211, and it is a puzzle game. It's NES Snake, but with moving rodents as items to get. So instead of getting like an apple as the snake, you have to chase down the rodents that move in a path. And if you get near them, they change direction and do all this stuff. If they hit your tail, they move like a different one. And if you collect 20, it ends. I don't know if you collected all 20, but it ends. There's no levels.
Remember how earlier I said there was another game that glitched out on me?
This is it.
This was it. Every single time I would press start, it would do some glitchy thing and then say you win.
Oh,
like a second after.
So
I won.
Perfect.
But I never got to play it.
Yeah. So but basically as you eat each rodent, your snake gets larger and larger, and you just gotta, it's NES Snake. It's Snakes. Yeah. NES Snake's the original homebrew. It's like first year homebrew for the console. I said it does what it sets out to, but is very basic proof of concept demo. I give it a C-, and it's a C- title. They got to add some levels and some features, maybe multiple mice running around just to piss you off. Like it has some promise if they add some stuff to it, but as a demo, it's fine. And it was rated 16 of 24.
Okay. And yeah, like I'm not going to give it a grade because I didn't get to play it, so I defer to you. Skate Scramble.
Skate Scramble, developed by Eggs with Legs.
That's on the nose.
Yeah, I wrote it as an arcade platformer. And you're skating as an egg. Game scrolls, and you press the A button to build momentum, and the B button jumps. You need to keep moving, or somebody will run behind you and crack you up as an egg, which is hilarious. And you die. The goal is for a high score, and there seems to be levels, even though I died and never got past the levels, but there seems like there could be levels. Music was pretty decent as well.
My impression word was fun with an exclamation mark. I had a lot of fun with this one.
Nice.
It reminded me of one of your favorite games,
Which
TNT
one?
Surf.
Oh, so it reminded me of California games from the skate section.
Okay. Yeah.
Especially with the way
the jump
too. Because the jump is a little delayed.
Yeah, there's like a momentum kind of thing to the jump. There's like
exactly, which felt to me like skate, where you have to like jump over things and
yeah. I see that.
I said shows promise. Feels like it'd be one of the games from California games. Like it'd be like one of multiple games. Would need more depth or variety to be a full release. Now, if there's multiple levels and I just got to get good to get to the end of levels, and there's multiple levels with, extra content and extra stuff in there, I give it a C+.
B- for me. Yeah.
B-.
We're right there.
I could be argued to get it to the B- level. I like it. Yeah. And it was rated number 17 of 24. It was rated
What?
very low.
Come on.
It was rated below
What in the
Rodent Eating
world?
Scorpion. It was rated below the Snake game with 1 level.
I'm disgusted.
I mean, it was rated below Firewall.
Oh gosh.
It
I
was
don't get
above
it.
Pentablow Cat, though.
I don't get it, man. I don't get it.
Pentablock Cat.
All right, Snow Brawl is up next.
Snow Brawl. This one was developed by Zvintak. I like probably Syntac, but with the V. I put it as an arcade versus a 2-player game. You have to play with 2 players, and you throw snowballs. You take out the other's players' lives, and you win. That's it.
I put a better version of Combat.
Huh. So my notes was proof of concept, not a full-fledged game, because it literally you just play it once and you're done.
Yeah, single screen.
And there's no levels to it. There's no score. You just play and win. Proof of concept demo. I gave it a D.
Yeah, D.
Yeah, just basic, very basic experience.
Real
Not bad.
basic.
Like it was programmed well, played fine.
Oh, I can't wait till this one. Star Command.
So Snow Brawl, by the way, was number
was
number 21 of 24.
Okay. Yeah.
Star Command, developed by Squeaky Fox, and it is a shooter. I wrote very basic Space Invaders.
Is it a shooter?
Game. It's a very basic Space Invaders style game.
Yeah.
No hit detection. I didn't say shoot 'em up. I said shooter, arcade shooter.
No. I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just like it was. Yeah, I'll wait my turn.
There's no hit detection, and you shoot one slow shot that doesn't disappear until it gets through the top of the screen or makes contact with something. That is it. There's stuff that falls, and you shoot. No score, no nothing else. And your little character looks like it's from Space Invaders.
Yeah. Star Command, obviously a missile command
name
type game. I put terrible. Because the hit detection's not there.
Well, and to me, missile command, you use a scrolling block.
Yeah. But I mean, but that was just how it was supposed. Even the background, like artwork, made it look like the spheres, like the explosions in Missile Command. Yeah. But I mean, there's
nothing. Nothing.
No,
it's not even a game.
It's nothing like it. No.
It's like I literally put an asset and a shot in another asset and put detection. That's it. No.
It's like it reminded me of someone in like programming class, like programming Hello World. This was just like, hey, I can do something.
I gave it an F. Proof of concept.
F. Absolutely.
I said I got some that are lower than that D. F. Yeah. It's nothing. That one was and that one was number 23 of 24.
Oh, that's so funny. Yeah, I rated that one point lower than the one that I said I rated lower. So
golf cart.
That was 24. Yeah, And then 23 was golf cart.
So they had golf cart as 24. This one was 23. I'd have it flip-flopped, but you know.
Yeah, same.
Is very close. So the community has it right with the games that aren't like full games.
Yeah.
All right, what else? What's next?
Next up is Super Strife.
Super Strife. Let me find it. Interesting. You didn't go in alphabetical order, but that's okay. Super Strife was developed by Mazine Ak. That's the name. Arena fighting game. This is a PvP fighting game where you have small characters with guns that go against each other. Also supports up to 8 players, which I assume is a double multi-tap edition to be able to play 8 players on a homebrew game. And so, so each you get a bunch of different characters you choose from. Some shoot, some have a damn flamethrower, and you rinse and repeat to see who wins.
Yeah, without a second person to play with, I don't think I can give it a fair grade. But sound and art style, I gave middle of the road. But I'm gonna just stop there and not give it a letter grade because I didn't really get to play against anyone. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean I didn't play versus anyone, but I did like have because I was playing it in FCEUX. I had the controller set to player 1. I did the keyboard to player 2, so I can move
Oh,
them
okay.
around.
Mhm.
And it plays solid. The
All right.
mechanics are there. I said the game shows promise with more levels, computer AI. This would be a solid, full-fledged game. And would boost it up the grade. I give it a B minus. Give it a B minus for what it
Okay.
is, because it's a solid competitive game. They added 8-player support, which is impressive.
Next up is Tiny Golf.
Super Strife was number 12.
Oh, sorry.
24. So it's right in the
Number
middle.
12. Okay.
So there's an S game that you didn't mention, Senseless City.
Yeah, I noticed that I only had 23 on this list, so I may have
Senseless City?
actually missed playing that one too.
Okay. Let's do Senseless City real quick.
Okay.
Senseless City Space Jesus. Developed
Oh,
by...
I did not play that. Was that even in the downloads?
Yes.
Okay.
Developed by Ronnie Baker, and it is a choose your own adventure game. Freaking cool. This is one, and so for context for video game bullshit, I actually programmed my own choose your own adventure called Miles
Oh, cool.
And so this one though takes that, Tristan, and it like raises the freaking bar. This game is cool as hell. So there's really cool images that go along with it. So like there'll be like a big ass character, and it says, "What do you do? Do you run? Do you attack? Do you try to talk to him?" And then it talks to you and does all this shit. It is awesome. It's a cool proof of concept game. The thing is, it is only a proof of concept because it only offers a few screens, and then it fishes out the story. And then it says at the end, well, here's what I could do with things. And so like it literally goes through like maybe 2 or 3 different text option sub-screens. And I gave it a B minus.
Okay.
Gave it a B minus.
Yeah,
This is awesome. If they fully fledged out this whole story, I would publish this physically.
Well, I'm gonna have to go back and play that one then, because yeah, I just looked at my ROM folder. Somehow I didn't download it from the ROMs that you uploaded.
Oh.
I missed that one.
Yeah.
I don't know how.
Well, because like there was no way to package up all of the NESDEV Compo, so we put them all individually in the folder, so that way we can.
Yeah, I missed one.
Yeah, but Senseless City was cool, and it was rated number 13, right under Super Strife. Though I would rate it a little higher, but it is only a proof of concept, so I get it. It's not a full game.
Yeah.
All right, now we're going to
Tiny Golf next. Yeah.
Tiniest of all golfs. Another one programmed by Johnny Bot, and it is a golf game. Wrote little version of mini golf that offers up to 8 players. Super basic, but for what it is, it works well.
I put it that it's very addictive. I love games like that. Love it.
So my synopsis said, for what it is, it works well. Feels more like a Flash game or a very, very early Famicom release. Gave it a C plus because of that, because it's literally just one 9-hole game of mini golf.
Yeah, C minus for sure.
C minus. I have a C plus, so we will pop it in the middle as a C.
Yep.
Yes. And so yeah, they had it as 19 of 24, which I feel like is a little harsh because it was a fun game.
That's really harsh. Yeah,
a little harsh because it was a fun game. But again, it only had 9, and it doesn't do anything graphically crazy. It's just green on black or whatever. But
it's as simple as his other game, Super Puzzle Fighter, color match combat.
Super Puzzle Fighter. I think we got one game left, Tristan.
We do. Final game in alphabetical order is Treasure Hunt.
Treasure Hunt, also programmed by Johnny Bot.
No way, he did 3.
And Niku 4211.
Okay.
And this one is a puzzle game. It is pretty fun. It is a basically 2-player Minesweeper, which I thought was pretty freaking cool. You play as ships trying to find treasure. You can play 2 players on 1 controller or 2 players on 2 controllers, which I thought was a fun option. So if those of you that want to just play on an emulator, you can or on a handheld, you can just hand it back and forth. But you try to find treasures. You get the same hint. So you click the button and it'll tell you how many surrounding ones, just like Minesweeper, how many ones are connected to a treasure piece. And then I assume, I didn't get through a whole full board, but I assume once you do it, the most treasure wins.
Yeah. I thought it was clever. I've never heard of a multiplayer Minesweeper, and I like Minesweeper. So I think that would be fun.
Very clever. I gave it a B minus.
Yeah, I gave it a B. Yeah.
Yeah. I said this feels like something that would be at home with the black box era of the NES. Would need some board options to be a full-fledged game, like multiple levels to be a full-fledged game.
That's fair.
Or like in Minesweeper, you got easy, medium, hard.
Oh yeah, the density of
yeah.
yeah.
And I don't know if you can lose either, so that it'd be cool to have some like because you're in a pirate ship, there'd be like bombs or something that blow you up. Yeah. That'd be cool. Maybe give it more mines in the water. I don't know.
This was a really fun assignment. I really like going through like such a variety of untested games, if you want to say.
And I feel like our overall award categories are going to be different too, because some of your comments were different, some of mine, and I wrote up all mine after I played everything. I put it up there in my categories without like going back. I didn't do any scoring like you did, so I just went off of my like feelings. So let's do the award category. Oh, did I say what number it was?
Treasure Hunt? No, you didn't say.
I did not say Treasure Hunt. Treasure Hunt was number 14 of 24.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right in the middle.
Yes. So art and style, Tristan. What is your top one for art and style?
I had two that tied, and it was between
make the hard choice, Tristan.
Okay, well, Double Dream.
Double Dream was your art and style. Okay, cool. And mine was Miro Jr. Miro Jr. with the unicorns and all the beautiful. I just felt like the graphics in that one, and that is a style of MT, the pastels and everything. I felt like from a graphic.
Yeah. Oh no, it looked great.
The gameplay didn't match it because it was freaking hurt my brain. But and so why did you pick Double Dream?
I picked Double Dream because it looked like something that would actually be on the NES. Something that I would actually pop in to my NES, like from a cartridge. It looked like a game that I would play. So it didn't look out of place.
Yeah, I mean, that's 100% right, though. It's like some of these games, too, are like really cool to just experience. What did you do for sound and music?
For sound, I gave Pie the Piper the highest marks.
Interesting.
I thought that it was
that
really
old school arcade?
Yeah, but I mean, no, it was just like really cool. Gosh, I don't even know how to like. It's that like echoey music that the NES is capable of putting out, and I don't know. It was catchy.
For me, it was far and away Mosh Lift.
Okay,
yeah, the whole heavy metal freaking music. Oh, it was so good. Yeah, I loved it, and combine that with the animation in the game and everything, it gave it a good NES feel and experience, and it like kind of like raised the bar from a musical perspective. I loved it. Polish and completeness as a game.
That goes for me to Echoes of the Unread.
Okay, for me, it was Little Sisyphus.
Yeah, to be fair, I didn't get to play it because it glitched down on me.
Little Sisyphus is a full game, and Echoes of the Unread. Okay, nice. Very polished games, man. There were some really standout.
I was impressed. Very impressed.
What won originality for you?
Originality would have to go to Proximity Shift.
Okay.
I know that it got high marks like overall in the competition, which I wouldn't give it personally. But as far as originality, I can't think of another game on the NES that's like that.
Yeah. I actually put Double Dream Prototype as mine because I liked the way that the momentum-based kicking and bouncing and all that. I loved how that all worked, and I liked that it was an exploration game. I feel like with a small tutorial, that would have been an awesome game because it's there, it's polished. It's like you liked the art and style of it. You know what I mean? Like it's just like it felt like a full NES game, and it was like it had its own mentality. It looked like there was a lot more to do, man. Yeah. What was your favorite from a gameplay perspective?
From a gameplay perspective, I gave it to Skate Scramble.
Oh,
It was
you
just
did
really
like
fun.
that.
Yeah, it was satisfying. It felt
Okay.
so good to jump. And
See,
yeah,
and
really
mine
precise.
also had jumping, but mine was NES Fish. I loved
And
the
fish, yeah,
gameplay.
dude,
Super solid.
yes. Hmm.
Like, the
Yeah,
gameplay in that was spot on. It was tight. It was like it could have been with
it
some polish. It could be a full-fledged NES
I
game.
totally agree with that. Like, I mean, if Skate Scramble weren't in there, Fish would have been my choice for that because it
Yeah.
felt really good.
Yeah. And then the only final one is the overall favorite game of video game bullshit. Mine had the highest grade of an A. We only had one that had an A. So, I
Yeah.
mean, Echoes of the Unread
Echoes of the
is what I have
Unread.
as my favorite.
It's the
And
unanimous decision.
it was freaking awesome. I
Yeah,
love it.
it's so good.
Well, and the thing is, it was just interesting that Echoes of the Unread was number 10 in the overall. But if Clever Cat Games wants to publish Echoes of the Unread, finish it up, whatever they got to do, like, hit
Oh,
us up. We
I'm
are a
on board,
publisher.
dude. I want to do that manual.
We are a
Yes.
publisher, so hit us up. That one, like, winning the video game bullshit when we're tied with the ability to publish games. If you want to publish it on a wider platform, even if you do your own one, Clever Cat, if you do your own one, cool. But if you want us to publish it, we are interested. Tristan and Jeff are interested. I'll tell you that
Yes.
much.
As a
We don't.
reminder, like what did it get in the competition? What was its overall?
It got number 10.
Number 10, and it got number 1 for us. We
Number
are
1.
way
Far and away.
off from
Far and away.
Yeah.
Not far and away, because little Sisyphus did get number 1, and that was pretty close to the top as well.
Mhm.
It got a B plus.
But I mean, like, we're miles apart from the grading that they gave it.
Yes,
I mean,
yes.
that's crazy.
We're talking about too is like what feels like it would be a full-fledged release on the NES, and we are a publisher, so it does. We do have a little bit of practice playing a lot of stuff, and that's why we did it with this flavor.
What a surprise! Jeff and Tristan went for the Metroidvania.
I might have the Metroidvania Chronicles, which is on Kickstarter, everyone. Ooh.
Yeah, that's right.
That was fun, though. That was a fun, a lot
really
of
fun.
games to play. Now, that being said, I also did take my notes, which means I am going to upload those onto the HagensAlley.wordpress.com blog. Not the store from Hagens Alley. I'll put a link to it on HagensAlley.com, but I will put it on the blog so it's preserved, because that is one thing. I want all of the text base to be preserved, and I'll put pictures of every game on there too, so that way all these independent.
Can I throw my picture of my Excel spreadsheet on there with all my scores and comments in there too?
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
Yes.
For sure. He's put in the because there's comments on the blog. He's put in the comments. And I'll also pop in the this episode as well on there. I just like the idea of like putting it, because one of the things on my WordPress blog is you typed in NES Homebrew for years, my top 10 was turned to top 18 was the top hit. So I do want to put this up in the top 10s as well. I'm just gonna put the NES Compo 23. It'll be fun to do.
Yeah.
I look forward to when the NES Maker comes out. We're going to do another
Yes.
one on here. It'd be awesome.
Yep.
And if any of these developers want to come on and talk with us about and bullshit with us about their game, like, we can do an interview episode. I know some people will probably listen and watch, and we give our unbiased feedback on all these games as players, and also we did that extra bit of full-fledged because we do have the publisher brain on ourselves as well.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I said we speak on behalf of Jeff and Tristan because Premium is a team, so it's not, we can't just say, all right, we're signing it. It's like, no, we absolutely would put Echoes of the Unread as a full-fledged.
We want you at our table.
Yes,
talking about your game. So
now, as we went through this episode, we did mention ones that, if it had polish here or there, if you are a developer and you're like, oh yeah, I did that purposely as a demo, I am doing all this polish, hit us up. Because if we said that, it feels like a full-fledged release with some polish, like, you never know. Because again, as we mentioned at the beginning of the episode, we are also doing the 8-bit indie collections on Nintendo Switch. And so some of these games could be added to that 8-bit collection, even some of the smaller ones as a bonus unlockable. Like, there is some options here from a publisher perspective, because some of these games, like, I mean, hell, your skate game, that could be one that would be fun as hell to play as a bonus.
And dude, if they make it fully fledged, I would love to play Cat Gunsmoke. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I'm all about it.
So there are some options, and we both 100% realize that these are demos and some of these are made quickly and all of that. And we appreciate it. There's a lot of talent in this community, and the fact that this was this year's release, 24 games in a year. That's awesome. I love it. It's fun.
Yeah, this was a privilege to play. It really was.
Now, to do a little self plugs and all that stuff. The NES Oddities and the Homebrew Revolution book, published, I authored it, published by Hagens Alley Books, does include every single NES homebrew game, including some of the NESDEV compos, all the way up to when NES Maker was announced and revealed. So it's been published many years ago, but it is a way for those of you that are more interested in hearing about the history of NES homebrew, everything with NES homebrew, there is a way to do that. My complete NES Nintendo book that is coming out does have a highlight of all of the physical releases that feel like they should be on the NES. They have the feel of it. They're not just a demo. Those are all curated and in that book as well. And in the future, if people want me to do another homebrew digest, or maybe we got the Metroidvania Chronicles, maybe we do the Indie Aftermarket Chronicles or something, we start talking about all these brand new ones in a quarterly magazine, I would be down to do that, Tristan. Like cover independent homebrew stuff from our perspective.
Yeah, do exactly what we just did, but put it down in print would be amazing.
Yes. And I mean, I already took notes on all this stuff, so just doing it as a full-fledged review would be fine. That being said, though, I would want to give every developer a chance to refine or work on or give us more context on their games if we're going to put it in print.
Absolutely, yes. It's got to be fair. It's got to be fair.
Exactly. Because right now we're just talking our experiences, but it was a really fun project to do for the episode. And we promise we're going to get to the best games of 2023. We will probably get that, and hopefully in episode 129, maybe. We'll see.
Jeff, we still got exactly 2 weeks left in 2023, so we'll get there.
Fortunately, my job didn't uptick, so I should have all the time. Yeah, no, it's super cool. And then we do have a game that was provided to us by a developer that we're going to play, called Tevi. I got to figure out how to say it.
Yeah.
That we will be playing for bullshit homework. And then Tristan and I had talked, and we do want to cover Sega Genesis hacks, like fan hacks of games. I think that would be fun as hell to do. Probably the beginning of the year, we'll probably cover some of that, but that'll be another list of playing and see how we feel. Because we were talking about, because Tristan's like, what the hell music was used at the beginning of 127? And I wouldn't tell him. I was like, no, it's a classic bullshit one. And there's a little story behind it, but it was the intro song in 127 was Kid Chameleon, one of the songs from one of the levels. But the intro of Kid Chameleon, Kyle and I used at Midwest Gaming Classic as our intros. We came in and we were like, we had because there was like a DJ. It was like Overdrive Reality that was DJing the whole thing, and they actually run the after party now at Midwest. But they were doing like running some music and doing like interviews that year, and we had them lead us into our panel, which was right across the way in the when it was in the hotel. And we kind of like jived up there. And we were such dorks. I love it. It was so fun. It's all on video. It's all on Amazon. The Tales from the Midwest Gaming Classic, Tristan. That's what it is.
Can't wait till the next one. It's gonna be fun. April.
I wish I could go. I might still do it. I might try to just fly my butt out there and do it. I haven't committed yet, because with this new adventure that I'm having to do, if I'm in seat, I may not have the time, but I might just do it for the weekend. Fly out early, get my butt out there, and then fly back in just to do it. It's just from Hawaii, it's so costly, but then I'm like, man, I'm going to be out of Hawaii, and I haven't missed a Midwest Gaming Classic in like 10 years. Fuck. Well, we'll see. Everybody, instead of the Tristan convinced me not to buy, Tristan convinced me to go to Midwest Gaming. It's a great time. And I know right before it, maybe a couple of weeks, I'll be at Game On Expo though, because for my daughter's spring break, we're already going to be in Cali, so I'm going to go a couple days early to Game On Expo in Phoenix, Arizona, and then go to Disney with my family for my daughter's spring break. I just think that Midwest is like 2 weeks later, and that's a big plane ticket for me.
Huge.
Yeah. Maybe I'll talk to Dan Lucen, who runs Midwest, and be like, all right, get me out here. How do I convince me? How do I get out here?
Exactly.
It's time too. It's like freaking 10, 12 hours of flight time too.
Yeah, Hawaii is a little far away.
It's a bit. If I get internet connectivity though, I could work on my books with research. That might be 12 hours of unmitigated research. Might be fun to do. Because I could take the time off. I could have somebody cover down on the Army side. It's just, what do I do? What do I do?
Yeah, it's going to be kind of in a weird time for me too, because around that same time I'm starting school, so I really don't know what my schedule is going to look like. We'll see, but it's all online, so I'll make it work.
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm going to be doing for a year once I get out to Texas. Is basically schooling. I'll be in training, but schooling and papers and stuff for a year.
Yeah,
which will be nice for me because I won't be in charge of a bunch of stuff for 1 year.
Well, what a nice change of pace.
I'll be in a break to just learn and train.
Yeah.
I think we should put a bow on it though. It's been a long episode already.
Alrighty.
Yeah, man. So everybody, you can find us books at HagensAlley.com is where all of the books are at. PremiumEditionGames.com are the games. You can find Tristan's individual games from the Video Game Collectors Field Guide. What is the website again, Tristan? I mess it up every time.
From VGCollectorGuide.com.
VGCollectorGuide.com. And that is how many consoles are up there now?
Still just like, well, no, I added a couple. So now 50. There are exactly 50 up there now.
Different guides on his website. Can you say, everyone, that Tristan is a madman? Yes. Yes, we can. Madman. All those are going to be in one giant tome of 4 books.
Yep. And then it hasn't quite made its way over to HagensAlley.com yet, but you can get my console guide, the Video Game Console Collector's Field Guide, at PremiumEditionGames.com currently.
Yeah. Like we're currently in the process of moving all books to Hagens Alley, but they're with Premium in the Premium warehouse instead of the Hagens Alley warehouse. I move so much, that's why I have to have warehouses, everyone. So basically, the Video Game Console Collector's Field Guide, Switch Collector Volume 1, Volume 2 Part 1, Volume 2 Part 2, and I think the final copies of the Punch-Out book are all over with Premium, so they're only on that website because it's easier for shipping. Everything else is with the Hagens Alley warehouse. We are going to ship those all. They should be shipping like within the month or two over there, and then we'll consolidate it all. And we'll market it all once it's over there, and we'll maybe run a big sale, and
it'll be a lot less confusing for everyone.
Yeah, it'll be great. But you never know. And then of course, Mighty Fight Federation, the Gamers for Gamers one, which a percentage does go to a charity that we consolidate and set up game rooms across the country. Most of them have been on the East Coast so far because that is where Gamers for Gamers is located, but we're open anywhere. So if you also have any ideas of a homeless shelter or somewhere where some kids could utilize some, gameplay, because they're all on their own. The kids are on their own. Like if they need something as a distraction, it's kind of why we're doing that. It's a really cool thing. It's why I started working initially with Gamers for Gamers in the first place, because they were doing this charity stuff. It was awesome. That's why. And now Gamers for Gamers is like the main button for Premium Edition games because they are so awesome. Josh and Sheena are great. But yeah,
great people.
But anyways, everybody, we appreciate you all. Support these damn developers. Play all of these homebrew games. They were freaking fun. And if they do individual releases, support them and buy the physical releases. Even if it's of the demos, that's cool. It's a point of time. And usually if the developers do release them, there's like 10 copies, man. Like you're talking limited print runs. Like I did in the book. There's like some that have single digit number of releases. So support them. They will usually communicate on social media or in Facebook groups and stuff. Support them all. And absolutely to keep this community alive, because it's one of my favorites, Tristan.
As it should be. Super fun.
All right, everybody. Thank you for listening, and we will see you next time.
Later, guys.